Linda Alela, as always the norm, will look at the state of the nation, even as we ponder some more on what has been culminating in the world of politics. I mean, lots of shifts and turns for very many people. And so we'll be bringing on board leaders and equally political and governance experts that will tell us what this means, even as the country is at that moment of, heated electioneering period. And so we'll be discussing that, but importantly, we'll also be having different sessions in terms of matters, relationships, and so much so make sure that you keep it right here. But away from relationship, we'll also be discussing matters finances, especially at this particular moment of COVID-19, and we'll be talking to the youths in particular as we get to give them facts and some of the things that they need to do to ensure that they're well equipped matters finance. So welcome on board. My name is Linda Alela. It is good to have you. The hashtag, as always, is Morning Cafe at Linda_Alela TV47KE, and a new better one for the Valentine's season as we talk matters TV47 or hashtag TV47 Valentine's, hashtag love, overcomes or conquers all. So it is important that you are part of this conversation this morning, even as we tell you just how best and how special that Valentine moment is going to be for you, courtesy of Morning Cafe. I am in purple, and so we'll be giving you cakes, courtesy of Valentine's Cake House. Yes, their theme color is color purple, and so you know very well that when it comes to Friday, we'll have lots of goodies to give you, lots of cakes for you and your loved one, even as you walk into the weekend of love. And we'll also be having Mizizi Homes, who will award you a chance to travel to the coast and have that beautiful moment with your partner. Win a trip to Mombasa for your Valentine's with a TV47 and Mizizi Africa Homes. This is courtesy of Morning Cafe. And away from Mizizi Africa Homes, we'll also be having UIP, who award you that chance of getting land. And so it is important that you get your hold of that. Mizizi Africa Homes also deals with matters, lands and homes. Look at the steps that will allow you the chance to win. You simply need to share this poster on your timeline. Use the hashtag below. That is hashtag TV47, hashtag Morning Cafe, hashtag love wins. And when you share this poster, we'll have our social media platform guys, on standby to ensure that you are the winner of this. But when you share, it is important that you tag TV47, that is on your Facebook page or on this platform, so that we get to know that indeed you have shared this poster. Then the post will definitely, the most wins or likes on Facebook will get to win this particular trip. So we'll be having 2 trips for you and your loved one. And indeed, when we come to UIP, it is important that you share your love story. So when you tell us your love story, this beautiful love story that you think is, unique and is special, is different from ours, and then out of the best love story, that one that will capture our hearts, we'll award them land. Yes. Shamba is not even a joke. And so keep it right here, because you have the best for you. 50 by 100. Who would give you that for free in this time and age? Your own title deed, everything guaranteed. So make sure that you keep it right here for the Friday edition. And lastly, we'll be doing all this at the Emory Hotel. And guess what? The Emory Hotel has been nice to ensure that, one, they give you affordable prices at that particular time. That is the night to Valentine's, or the actual night of the Valentine's. And also, the meals will be at affordable rate, courtesy of Morning Cafe. 6,500 for you and your couple for the meals, 7,500 for everything, and go and spend there an extra one, and you will love it. I mean, honestly, don't you want to surprise your loved one? But hold it right there. They're not just giving this at affordable rates. We also have an offer for a couple, courtesy of Morning Cafe. Mark that, courtesy of Morning Cafe. We're awarding a couple a free dinner night where you will go there, enjoy the best of dinner. There'll be breakfast for you. You will spend the night there, courtesy of Morning Cafe. It is simple. We'll be telling you how you get to win that. So make sure that you keep it right here from today. Always engage on our social media platforms, and we'll certainly be updating you on how best you're going to do this. Remember, on all social media platforms, it is TV47 Kenya. So make sure that you keep tabs in regards to that. And of course, you will get to win that. So the grand day is on Friday, so I look forward to have you join us that morning, 6 a.m. as always, all the way to 9 a.m. A Friday like no other that will be full of great music of love. A Friday like no other that will be full of household names that will entertain you, that will tell you their stories of love, and indeed will usher in the weekend and the weekend of love in style. So make sure that you keep it right here. That is all we have for you, and this is just a way of saying thank you so much for always keeping it TV47's Morning Cafe. And here we are, as always. How do we do it? We take a look at the papers, we look at the interviews later on, and we call it a day. And so here we are. We first of all look at what it is that the papers have in store, and this is the People Daily. What is captured on the People Daily? This is in regards to the purge in Jubilee Party. Done with the Senate, Jubilee goes after misbehaving members of Parliament. We wait to see whether such is going to be the case. The ones who are targeted: Gideon Keter, Cecily Mbarire, David Ole Sankok, Halima Musheke, and maybe some more. We wait to see whether indeed the axe will crack down on them. And away from that, that is a story captured on page 6. 844 finally gone. President unveils a new education system to replace the decades-old program that has been in place since 1985. This gives way to a new way of educating learners based on competencies as opposed to the exam-oriented approach. A story captured on page 4 and 5. Conversations have been ongoing as to whether this is a good way of ensuring that our students are well equipped in terms of matters education, and whether at all the country was or is ready to ensure that the rollout of this new program is done sustainably and also to the best. And standoff looms over 370 billion to devolved units, and senators claim that there is a plot by the National Treasury to instead disburse the lesser amount of 316 billion to counties as opposed to what was the agreement initially. We'll also be looking at this as we proceed with the broadcast. The Standard newspaper: sting of Jubilee's second wave of purges. Remember what happened on the first waves. It wasn't so easy, it wasn't so beautiful, with most of the majority and whips, the majority leaders in this particular, houses being whipped or being de-whipped. In that case also, such has happened. Senator Kangata is the latest casualty of Uhuru as party's action against rebel members of parliament, and this is a story that we'll be looking at as we proceed. But away from it, on matters examination, still how exams would radically change, how KCPE was saved, and so much so in regards to the change of the curriculum. And away from it, is he fainting drama of sick Sonko ordeal? Or that is, of course, in regards to Governor Mike Sonko's, terrible moments or dramatic moments, especially his experiences at the jail and all that, and the bails that he gets, and whether indeed this one's hold, looking at the numerous accounts that he's been, alleged to have, taken part in. And so much so, we'll be looking at that, and we ask just what informs this. Is it because now it speaks different from what it is that the state speaks? But then again, it is always important that justice is served, whether you are under government or you are away from government. And there we go. That is on the Standard newspaper. The Daily Nation briefly: New World for Children in CBC plan. This is also a conversation that we look forward to have, in an extensive way, as we'll be engaging education experts. They tell us just how best are we placed to ensure that this program rolls on well for the sake of the children. Long day for Sonko. Anti-terrorism police unit officers storm hospital where former governor was in, and that is also a story that has been happening, or has been gracing the papers or the news world for the better part of last month and coming into this month. And away from it, mobile loans hitch. Are you wondering why you're unable to get that? Well, there is some addictive mobile loan from your regular lender. Well, it's all about what you failed to do. Just what did you fail to do? Did you fail to pay? And all that is a story captured on the back page. I'm sure most of the people you love to get to see that. We'll be looking at the hard copies also as we proceed with that to just get the details of the same, and also the aspect of Kangata being kicked out as the majority whip, that is at the level of the Senate, and how many have read this as a political witch hunt. And the attorney's plan for about 120 billion extra budget. supplementary budget has no provision for a referendum. Neither has Treasury set aside cash for members of County Assembly's vehicle deal. And so there's a story captured on page 9. Will they be twisted? As they would say, yes, indeed. They probably have been twisted to dance to the tune of the expectation of what it is that the BBI requires. And so it's a conversation that we seek to have as we get to get different views and just what this then would mean. We get to understand from, an economic perspective what it would mean for the economy as at now. So those ones are the stories that we'll be looking at the papers. But first, again, let's take a look at what it is that the day has in store on the Daily Diary. Culture Honorable Peter Munya will today preside over the launch of the Kenya Dairy Board Laboratory, and we'll be following up on that to give you updates. This, I'm sure, will be very important, especially for the dairy farmers, as we give you updates on what will culminate in regards to this. And I'm certain that in most cases, when he has such, he will definitely also expand some more on other, important sectors on matters agriculture. So we'll be looking at that as we proceed. And away from it, it is important now that we take a look at what is captured on Matters News. Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata could not keep secrets, and for that he has lost his majority whip post at the Senate. And Kang'ata, who assumed office throughout through a controversial ouster of his Nakuru counterpart Susan Kihika, is now crying foul with his then foes now turned friends. Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi is now the new minority whip.
Barely a year since he was appointed as the Senate Majority Whip, Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata has been de-whipped from the position by the Jubilee Party and immediately replaced with Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi, the decision which was arrived at in a Senate Parliamentary Group meeting of the Jubilee Party on Tuesday.
We've had a resolution that Mr. Irungu Kang'ata ceases to be the Jubilee Chief Whip in the Senate, and he's replaced by Senator Wamatangi.
According to the Jubilee Party, the decision to de-whip Kang'ata was out of lack of confidentiality by the party leadership and the House leadership. Kang'ata once wrote a letter to President Uhuru Kenyatta claiming that BBI was unpopular on the larger Mount Kenya region.
You're supposed to keep the confidentiality of the meeting, keep the confidentiality of what it is we have discussed. But if after talking, immediately you go out and expose those who you talked with and what you said with them, then that is not acceptable, and that is his biggest failure as a leader. And therefore, the rest of the leadership in the Senate are not able to trust him going forward. How then can they ever talk freely when he's there, when they don't know what he's going to say outside to the media and to his friends? So it is that breach of confidentiality which has made his position untenable.
However, Kang'ata insists that he never made any mistake, but rather said the truth which cost him the seat. The senator, who is rumored to be warming up to the Tangatanga faction of the Jubilee Party, says he will keep championing for the truth.
I am undergoing today. I will remain a person who is steadfast, who talks the truth. Because even the Bible tells us the truth shall set us free. What I wrote concerning BBI, I did not insult anyone. I did not at all belittle the government at all. I even offered solutions. But imagine, today I'm being kicked out just for speaking the truth.
Deputy President William Ruto allied senators, this time showing support for Kang'ata, saying the process of de-whipping him was illegal.
So we have opposed this process. We are going to stand with Senator Kangata. We are going to oppose any fraudulent process that is going to be brought to the Senate. We want the Speaker to make first the ruling of our removal last year before making the ruling of Senator Kangata.
Exactly.
And in the Kangata, we want the evidence be tabled, including the numbers that signed against his removal and the signatures before we can proceed to say he has been removed. So as we stand here, Senator Kangata remains the majority whip in the Senate.
This comes as political parties dispute tribunal stopped the expulsion of the 6 Jubilee Party nominated senators until Court of Appeal listens and delivers its ruling over the matter. The move by the party to de-whip the perceived disloyal members is now seen as setting the BBI trend stage. Already, supremacy battles being witnessed between DP Ruto's allies and the proponents of BBI. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Nairobi.
In Mangu, Kiambu County, after a section of mourners in a funeral stepped out, that is after Deputy President William Ruto introduced Agriculture CS Peter Munya to read President Uhuru Kenyatta's condolence message. Let's take a look at that.
Karibu sana, Deputy President.
It was the burial of Thika Member of Parliament Patrick Wanaina's mother. A section of the crowd walking out soon after Deputy President William Ruto addressed mourners and invited Agriculture CS Peter Munya to read President Uhuru Kenyatta's message of condolences.
I send you this message of condolence.
Ruto, on his part, denying claims that he hates people from the Mount Kenya region. The second in command further saying that the region should not treat President Kenyatta as a regional kingpin, but a figure of national unity.
Musitunyang'anye rais ati akuwe mtu ya Mount Kenya peke yake. Hapana. Sasa mkisema rais ni kiongozi wa sehemu hii peke yake, na sisi kiongozi wetu ni nani? Na sisi tumempigia kura, tunampenda, tumeshughulika na yeye miaka hii yote.
Munya and Kieni MP Kanini Kega criticized politicians supporting the DP, accusing them of organizing goons to embarrass the president in his backyard.
Heshima si utumwa, na ukiheshimiana na wewe pia utaheshimiwa. President yeye ndiye alinituma nije nisome hotuba yake. Ndio.
Rais kwa hiari yake mwenyewe akaona yule mtu atamwakilisha vizuri ni mheshimiwa Munya, kwa hivyo akamtuma. Kwa hivyo yule mwingine ambaye ni naibu wa rais alikuwa anafikiria yeye ndiye anatumwa, hakutumwa, na kuna sababu kwa nini hakutumwa. Kwa hivyo asilete mzaha hapa, ni vizuri aulize kwa nini hakutumwa.
I want to give you my word as Deputy President of Kenya. Na mtu asiwaambie ati hamupendwi. Mimi nataka niwaambie tunawapenda sana, tunawapenda ajabu.
The DP allies led by Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria further faulting the BBI report.
Well, interesting times on matters of politics. But away from that, Sonko was yesterday arraigned before Kiambu Law Courts for bail ruling. That is before he was released at a cash bail or bond, of 300,000. Sonko is currently at the Nairobi hospital and would later be released. That is later in the afternoon at Kahawa Law Courts to face terror-related charges, as Joan Minor reports.
The subdued former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko was presented before Kiambu Law Courts, escorted by 2 nurses under tight security. On Tuesday morning, he was taken to Nairobi Hospital after he complained of stomach complications, but was arraigned in court despite his alleged condition. Kiambu Law Courts released Sonko on a bond of 300,000 Kenyan shillings and a surety of similar amounts pending his pre-trial on 23rd of February 2021. Sonko is facing assault-related charges causing actual bodily harm.
Bond of Kenya shillings 300,000 with a surety of a similar amount. 2, the accused person to cooperate with the investigating officer and heed summons when required by the IO.
On Tuesday afternoon, Sonko was presented before Chief Magistrate Diana Mwachache, facing terror-related charges and alleged procurement of uniforms resembling military attire in contravention of the rules governing its use. Still accompanied by his nurses and looking dejected, the court ordered Sonko to be taken back to Nairobi Hospital under the guard of Anti-Terror Police Unit.
However, the respondent will be handed over to the ATPU officers who will escort him to Nairobi Hospital, and he's going to be under the guard of the said ATPU officers until when he's ready for his application to proceed.
The doctors were ordered to present a detailed letter explaining his condition tomorrow at 11 a.m. The court proceedings will continue even with Sonko's absence until his condition stabilizes. Joanne Minor, TV 47.
All right, that story now takes us for a short break. We still have more coming your way. That should be after the break, where we'll look extensively at the newspapers and we get to the discussion.
When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
Welcome back to the broadcast. It's now time we get to the papers extensively. And now, after that, to the discussion. I already have my guests in studio, and I'll be introducing them as we proceed. We go to the papers. As always, we say we have the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation, and the People Daily. I think it will be fair if we start off with what has been captured on the Daily Nation. Most stories, actually, that are on the Daily Nation's front page are also the stories that are on the other papers and are of great importance. So we'll be getting to hear the view of the guests of the day as we now get to the conversation after that. We'll be looking at the politics of the day. It is important that you're part and parcel of this conversation. Hashtag Morning Cafe at Linda_Lela at TV47KA. As we proceed with the broadcast, we'll be sampling some of your comments, and we also get to hear the guests ponder on the same. So, gentlemen, good to have you this morning. We have Honorable Geoffrey Majiwa, Deputy Speaker, that is Nairobi. It's good to have you, sir. And we also have Irungu Goko, who's a governance expert. And we are also expecting Honorable James Gakuya, Member of Parliament, Embakasi North. I'm told he's somewhere at the parking, so he should walk in any moment from now. And we get to this. But before he comes in, let's first look at what the papers have to say. And the first paper on screen, Daily Nation, New World for Children in CBC Plan. The same story captured on the Standard newspaper, how exams will radically change. And that is in regards to these changes that have been incorporated courtesy of the competency-based curriculum, and also a story captured on the People Daily. Here we are, is the biggest story. 844 finally gone. A president unveils a new education system to replace the old program that has been in place since 1985. Gentlemen, We have been here as we were having conversations as to whether indeed we should proceed with this new curriculum or not. Lots of reservations coming in regards to the same. Then came COVID-19. Most argued that teachers were not ready for this program. Others argued that students also are being bombarded with so much so logistics problems. And here we are today. It is almost a done deal. Decades of old syllabus paves way to fresh module based on competencies as opposed to exam-oriented. Honorable Majiwa, your view on that story?
Well, I think it's a good move because it is something that has been happening and it has never materialized. So right now, I think even parents now are in a position to now plan with it, knowing that this is our new system.
Right.
And whatever we do with our education, the education for our children, we must be able to now embrace the changes. It is always said that a change is as good as a rest.
Right.
So it's only fair that we give the Minister for Education an opportunity now to try and bring these changes to reality so that we can see the end product of what will come out of this, because the children really have been struggling with the other system.
Yes.
And now if this new system will give them a breathing space, then we think it's a good thing and we welcome it.
I had a session with my dad, and what he said is anything to go by. He was just trying to remind me of what happened at that time when there was coming, 844 was coming in, that is in 1985. And so he was trying to tell me just how, it was like a systematic, wave of the previous system, in the sense that, they did not wake up and said, over and done with 844. They said, slowly by slowly, like class by class, would walk out until the very last class, of 844 was out. And so the incorporation was more or less systematic. This is a little bit different with what we witnessed today. One, I'd love for you to tell us whether you think there's going to be some level of change in terms of making the best of matters education in the country with the coming in of the new curriculum, and whether the approach that we have taken in terms of rooting out the 844 system is probably the best we could have, amidst all these complaints of the fact that maybe we were not ready enough.
Viewers, let me say, this one was done, first we had a pilot, which worked so well. It's still ongoing. And I think the best way to transform education is to look at the future. Because the 844 system looked at the present. Passing an exam, moving to the next class,
right.
You pass an exam, you get a certificate, you go home. But this one really takes back to where we were, and I think even if we would implement it instantly, of course it will be systematic in a way that it will phase out the current 844 students as it brings in the grade 4, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So the transition I think have been well thought of by the education experts. It's only that the approach is different because things are changing. So the same way of thinking in 1985 could not be the same way of thinking in 2020.
Right.
What I'm looking at is what are we gaining with the new education system? That to me is the most important thing, because right now the whole world is moving to skills, is moving to technology, is moving to talent and all that. So if we say that we will spend the next 10 years to eliminate the current crop, then I would think the children that will find themselves in that 10 years may live a very bad life, a very sad life in quotes.
Okay.
So I would rather we put it instantly. We deal with the we deal with the toothing issues that will arise. Then at the end of the day, it will be way better than the 844 system.
Okay.
So let's face it as the ministry advised, and let everybody support it because it's the best way to go. Okay. If we start looking at it in a negative way, then the end loser will be the children. Okay. So let everybody support it as it is. Then we see how we can work along. Because moving the classrooms, the teachers. Now yesterday I watched that launch, and the CS Education said they have already trained 150,000 teachers.
Teachers, yes.
So that tells you they have been working behind the scene in readiness for this launch and the transition.
Okay, as we look forward to a good one, I think it's only fair that I allow Honorable Gakuya also weigh in his sentiments. He's probably seen almost all the faces we'd say we've had since independence in terms of matters education, and he'd probably have a good view of what this is likely to bring on board in terms of benefits. Honorable Gakuya, good to have you. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
So we're talking matters education, the competency-based curriculum that has been introduced, and officially we say out the 844. So much has been happening, so much has changed, a lot of discrepancies, a lot of questions as to whether we are ready to even incorporate the new curriculum or not. But by and large, here we are, and out goes the old 844 system, in comes the CBC.
Thank you very much, Linda. Well, one thing is that everything that is good and concrete has to have some teething issues.
Yes.
And preparedness has always been there, but resources are the main key. There is no way that at least you can be able to say that you have complete enough budget to do all your expectations. What you want to do is to plan, and after you plan, you take phases in terms of implementing your ideas. And I believe that in fact the new curriculum is going to materialize very well because it has kicked on very well. And I would say that in fact, despite that there are some hiccups, those hiccups are only for few days at this early beginning. But in fact, at the point we are, it's that the government is doing the best to implement the system. And I'm sure, even when Kibaki said that actually, after taking the leadership of this country, that the free education is going to be a mandatory, it happened. And Kibaki had not therefore had what we call enough budget to implement it. But he, because of that assuredness and that ability to win that particular agenda,
yes,
it materialized. Even this one, what matters later is goodwill. And I'm sure that in fact the government is giving enough goodwill to this. And that is why you have seen that preparedness is there. And as you have seen yesterday, the ministry have established a team which is ready to undertake the proceedings.
All right.
So I'm sure that despite small hiccups, the system is going to work.
Yes, and as they would say, we cannot wait until we are ready. I mean, it's always good that we start and then we keep learning and making mistakes as we correct them, even as we proceed. To another story that has been captured again on all the papers. Done with Senate, Jubilee goes after misbehaving members of parliament. A day after the party expelled 6 senators, the axe hangs over the National Assembly in what is shaping up as a renewed purge against Deputy President William Ruto's allies. 4 members of parliament perceived to be errant risk being expelled. That is a story captured on page 6, and is also a story that is on the front page. Sting of Jubilee's second wave of purges. Also, the figures have been captured, the ones that have stepped out, the ones who have been waved out, as we await to see what it is that is likely to happen, because the conversation continues, and a majority of these leaders purported to be allies of the Deputy President, or are said to be allies of the Deputy President. And also on the Daily Nation is a story that has been captured. Kangata kicked out as Jubilee kicks out Senate Majority Whip Wirungu Kangata alongside other, nominated that is senators, and it's not been a good one. Also a story captured on page 6, and I'd love to hear the guests weigh in on the same. It has been ongoing for the better part of the week. Do you suppose it was the right move from the Jubilee government? What does it speak about party democracy? Honorable Majiwa.
Well, thank you. I think party democracy first has to start with loyalty.
Okay.
Because a party that has members who are not loyal cannot really be a party, because there's an element of democracy in a party, but before the democracy comes in, there has to be loyalty. That's what forms the unit.
So this is loyalty to who or what?
So to the party and the party ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, and party ideas are key. You cannot live in a house that you don't believe in its rules. Yeah, you have to learn the rules of the game before you live in the house. And
So the party ideas are declared on where it is that the president lies, or what? Because, or the party leader lies, because then again, you also realize that there's the deputy president therein, and he has his own ideas, and most of these members subscribe to the ideas that are presented by the deputy president. Does it then make his ideas not party ideas?
Well, you see, party has structures, and there are organs in the party that are led by the party secretary general. Yeah. Those are the ones who are like referees of the game. They know the rules that are supposed to take place each day. And when they tell you this is the right forum to do this, then it is also fair to understand that this is what our party stands for, and these are the ideologies of our party that we must adhere to. And it's not about the president and the deputy. President and deputy are just individuals within the party who have positions to head others. Yes. But they may have their own personal thinking. But what is important is the party ideas, which are actually laid down by the party organs and must be adhered to as members of the party. Okay. We'll be coming to that, even as we speak of the fact that some of these members have complained that at some point some ideas have been fronted, without their knowledge. And they question what really happens, especially when you talk about fronting of candidates for respective by-elections. You realize that sometimes as a party they declare that, we're not going to front a candidate without having consulted some of the members, crucial members for that matter. And so later on we get to understand what exactly are these party ideas that Honorable Majiwa speaks of. And we drop that one because then it will be forming the basis of our conversation this morning, and get to a different story altogether. SRC approved 4.5 billion car grant for county assemblies. I think that is also on matters BBI. We'll be looking at that, but then again, I think it's only fair that we ponder on the same. We just get to understand this briefly. While we have argued that it is equally their right for them to get these grants, because members of parliament like Honorable Gakuya here have had the privileges of getting this. So is it unfair that this has happened, and how much will it pinch into the taxpayers' pockets?
Leader, I read that letter. It says that it's within the budget that's already existing in the county government. That is 25% of the county allocation goes to county assembly. Okay. So, and the way the letter says, it weighs out on the transport allowance that the MCAs were receiving. That is now transformed into a car grant. Okay. It's about I didn't get time to study really into depth what goes around with the transport allowance that has been transferred, because it's a matter of removing A in this basket and putting it into another basket. Okay. Making it better in a way? Yeah, it's a matter of saying they get a car loan, yes. Then they are given transport allowance. Right. Mheshimiwa here then can confirm that. Mm-hmm. So I think what I understood is the transport allowance now has been converted into a car grant.
Can you explain that to us, Honorable Majiwa?
Yeah. Well, I think not far from what he's trying to explain, is also something that is not very new according to what the letter stated. Yes. We already had some of the members already have loans for cars, which they are servicing as we speak. But then you see now they have been crying to be given grants just like their colleagues at the parliament. This has been a promise between them and the president, not just yesterday. This started way back in 2014. You will be in a position to remember that even the first county assemblies forum in Mombasa, the president promised them that they're going to get car grants, and that never materialized. So it's just a question of the president actually making his words real. And then the SRC had an opportunity to now work it out, to make it look something that is real even on the ground, so that it doesn't eat so much into budget for other issues. We already had in the county assemblies a provision for loans, which members had been given and members are servicing. So this is just coming to cover up that element of loans which were there, because it's been heavy on members, and the element of transport allowance really is a very small element in this whole arrangement. There are some members who, like for example, members who come from Nairobi. This is something called a transport allowance. It's really nothing on their payslip if you look at it, because there's no much distance that they cover, so they don't really get enough. So you will find that those who are coming from up country counties, they get more compared to those who are in Nairobi.
Okay.
But what this is trying to do is to ensure that members of the county assembly also have a reprieve when it comes to servicing the loans that had been given to them, because the situation in this country has not been easy for people to service loans. You remember some months back we had even to talk to banks to suspend loan deductions.
Right.
So this is just an opportunity for members to work out the car loans that they have and see how this SRC letter will help them cover up for the balances that they are remaining with.
All right. As we look at that, I'd love for you, Honorable Gakuya, to come in and also pick that story from what has been captured on the front page of the Daily Nation, as we try and get a hold of that on my screen. The front page of the Daily Nation speaks differently in regards to this. I don't know how different it is, but I'd love for us to get to understand that some more. Yatani's plan for about 120 billion extra budget. And so when we're talking about this extra budget, we're looking at a supplementary budget. Let me try and get this. Yes, we're looking at a supplementary budget that he says has not been incorporated, or this had not been incorporated in the supplementary budget. He says it has no provision for referendum, neither has Treasury set aside cash for members of County Assembly's vehicle deal, as captured on page 9. First of all, what do you make of this agreement? And remember, this is being related to what it is that you as members of parliament get.
Let me say, reader, that this country is being led by what we call politics. And when politics are in our favor, it drives everything. Yeah. And therefore, when you had the head of state pronouncing himself during the daylight that you are going to get it, either way has to get it. Those are presidential words.
Okay.
And it's very important to understand that he's the head of state. And his sentiments were well backed by his partner.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything wrong in that?
I can say there is nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
As long as this is a matter being well taken care of in our budgetaries.
Okay.
Number two is that we have this commission, which is CRC, which is entitled to deal with such issues. And I don't know why it has become a surprise that they have just today indicated that there is such a room. And all over there, the members of MCAs has been clamoring, and this CLC was totally silent. Why were they not present such a letter there before this pronouncement of the president?
Okay.
Oh, this is a presidential order, and it is taking place. And it tells you that that's how we micromanage our institutions. Mm-hmm. Because when the head of state backs you, or tells you this has to be done, either way you have to do it, whether you have a budget or not. And that's why the CS is sort of saying that this is a matter that was not in the budget, and therefore a supplementary is entitled to take care of that. Mm-hmm. And we have I may have no color, but this is not the best way to lead the country. Okay. Because the pressure should not be the purpose of pushing the country into the dogs. Because this country, where it is economically, is at the height of mercy. Mm-hmm. And there are serious matters that are supposed to be taken care of, and we are ignoring those important matters. But streamlining and committing this country to issues which only takes politics and which are seen to have interest with the politician. Mm-hmm. And to my position in this one, I would say this is a very bad example, very bad precedent, because any other president tomorrow will follow the same president. Okay. And therefore we will be out of order all the time. This is not the way to lead the country.
All right, well, that's an interesting view right there. Probably the only dissenting voice that we have as at now, but then maybe justified in a way or not justified. I don't know why the gentlemen are silent about this, yet they all...
I look at selfishness. Yes, Kenya is a democratic country that is run by a political government.
Yes.
So politics must take center stage in all matters. when MPs were giving themselves all those allowances and all those grants, they came from all over. Even when they were, even when they were adding their own salary against the will of SRC, then ganged up, and they even threatened to impeach the SRC chair. So here is a group of elected leaders, MCAs, who want something closer to what their counterpart gets. You've seen it when doctors are asking for allowances, clinic officers are asking for theirs, nurses are asking for theirs. We've seen when the police are saying, oh, our welfare, because our bosses have a house, we also need a house. So it's not new. It's not something that is new. But now the fear here is, let's look at it politically. The fear here is there's always a fear of competition. So some MPs are looking at this thing like Sasoya MCA atakuwa, as in like now this MCA has a car, so he's able to elevate his status and might compete with me.
Is it the case?
The next election.
Is this really the case? Remember, we also look at the timings, and sometimes we need to be
from
very
2014 from 2014 to 2020, even if it goes to 2030.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is, I read that letter, and I wish we can just put it somewhere on the screen.
Okay.
Because SRC has written to the Council of Governors, telling them the same allocation that they give to the county assembly is the same that is being used. So there's not even a single coin coming in from the exchequer to top up the car allowances that the MCAs are getting. And that has not been the case at the Parliamentary Service Commission. When they wanted their letter, when they wanted their salaries going up, when they wanted their allowances going up.
They twisted the SRC.
Yes, they twisted the SRC to top their budget, to top up their budget. But the MCAs, the county assemblies, have not twisted the president to top up even with a single coin. Yeah. That is my point of, and until we study that letter in depth, then we see if the taxpayers are losing money or not. Yes. That should be the case of, that should be the point of talk. Are we losing money as Kenyans by this new declaration, or are we not? If we are losing money, then we can talk about that.
Rita, I can say we are losing money.
We definitely must.
I can say we are losing money, Rita. Yes, and my facts are that assume I have been using a budget of 10 shillings. And I was unable to accommodate anything else out of that. So you are telling me, reduce your expenditure so that you accommodate me. You are not adding a penny, but yes, Wanjiko was getting maybe expansion of water, or maybe what we call flood rates, or maybe any other service. That service is going to be derailed because this money will be taken to another use, which was not there before. So you can't tell me that Wajiko is not losing. Wajiko will lose because this money will deny some kind of project that there before was being expended by this money. Yes, so you can't tell me that...
You're a person of interest. Yes.
It's very interesting to hear Honorable Gakuya argue like that. I just listened to him and I find it very interesting because I know very well that the members of parliament who seem to be having issues with this car grant given to members of the county assembly. Majority of them are just cowards who fear that these fellows are being capacitated and they might come for our seats.
Exactly.
That's the fear.
It doesn't matter.
Because even the it gives you mobility. But you don't know what campaigns is about. You are every place. Every time you want to be there, you are there. Every time.
It's not alone.
You can move now. And it has also given you an opportunity to tell people that you are a person of means. You don't just walk around people. You don't even have a car. That alone in politics is enough to up your game. So if I hear my brother complaining about this car grant, he was once a councillor and is now a member of parliament. And he knows very well that the compensation he got from the city council, that is when he managed to be a member. That's what made him what he is today. But now today he wants to close his eyes and think that those he left behind should not be elevated by way of status. I find this is something very selfish.
Just read that.
On the part of members of parliament. It becomes Wanjiku issue when it's coming to MCAs. It's not Wanjiku issue when it's going to members of parliament. They have the knife in their hand, they can cut anytime at will and eat. But when it comes to somebody cutting for members of county assembly, it is a big issue.
So was this also a way of twisting the government, the president, so that you guys can proceed to
Linda, this matter has been on the table from 2014.
And so
the president does not meet people every day. The president does not meet people every day. So it does not mean that when he gets a forum to talk to people about other things, he is not supposed to talk about other things which have been on the table for a long time. This is just an opportunity that presented itself, that the president went to Sagana to meet people, and it's a big forum where we meet all of them. You may want to give them answers that have been delayed. It's not because they will be twisting the president, but it's an opportunity that has come for him to answer questions that have been lying in his office for many years.
Why now? Why now?
Everything has its time. Even the car grant that MPs enjoy was not there before. A time came, then it was actualized. Why is it that if it happens now, they want to peg it to BBI because they are saying why now? Because there are people who are opposing the BBI. They want to make it look like this is something that is given to members of the county assembly to support the BBI. What these people are forgetting is that members of the county assembly are more important even than members of parliament. Then they sit in Nairobi, pass rules and rules that benefit them alone. But members of county assembly are elected and left in the villages to live with people. Every morning you go to their doorsteps, you find them. Gakuya was one of them who was complaining at the council that people wake up to his house every morning. He was my councillor. Yes, this one he was my councillor. He was complaining in meetings every day that he wakes up in the morning, his house was full of people. I'm surprised he has forgotten now that people wake up to our houses.
But Linda, I am not against the top up. I am against the procedure used. Because the president did this pronounce after being gagged.
There is time for everything.
Is this the way we should?
There's time for everything.
Is this the way? Is it justified to question the procedure?
The president was not gagged.
The president does not meet people every day.
The day he meets people is when he gives the
answer. Is this a procedure? If there was no BBI, there could be this grant to the end of the term.
Can we finish this conversation after this?
He cannot confirm that. He cannot confirm that.
We are 7 years.
We are 7 years. BBI,
but also that can
because
be
by 2014 already the president promised it. There was no BBI in 2014.
Why was it not implemented then?
Preparation of government does not take place in a day. The government has to prepare things in a day.
But we take a break and then we come back.
We also live here. We don't live in the sky. We live here.
When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind.
Well, the SRC has deliberated on the matter, taking into consideration the constitutional principles of affordability and fiscal sustainability and fairness and transparency when reviewing, setting and issuing advice of remuneration and benefits for state officers and other public officers as outlined in Article 235 of Constitution of Kenya 2010. Further, the SRC has taken into account Section 12(1) of the SRC Act of 2011, which outlined the principle of equity in remuneration and benefits. I know there's much that has been incorporated in this particular letter, and still much more that has, informed this decision by SRC. But then again, we come back to that fact on the aspect of timing. I mean, you do not want to tell me that these clauses did not exist before that declaration by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And so, in a way, we'd say that Mheshimiwa here is justified in questioning the procedure probably, and the timings, and the fact that, it looks like it was, a declaration by the President, who has the right to do that. But then again, probably not in the, after being twisted, that, if you don't do this, if this does not sail through, if it's a conversation from 2014, then evidently he was told probably you have to make sure that this goes through so that we can talk matters BBI. Or we'd want to assume.
Last week when I was here, I said the matter of car grants with MCAs, it's like those aunties on a wedding day. It's just an opportunity for them to ask for something that is not so serious. Okay. Yet it's it's a way of saying, sir, okay, we are here, and like Mheshimiwa is here saying, we haven't seen you for so long, we haven't had an opportunity to talk to you, we've been pushing for this thing behind the scene. It's not like the County Assembly's Forum have not been following up on that matter. Okay. I'm sure they have been doing it, and their chairs and the rest can do it. So it only came into the limelight because of an open public meeting. Mm-hmm. When we look at the fear of competition that has been, that's been spoken about here, mm-hmm. I can remember enough times MPs have blackmailed government, starting with their loans, starting with their grants, going to their allowances, going to their pensions, going to their... Former councillors have been fighting for their pensions since 2015. Is it so, Honorable Bakuya? Yes, but Senate has deliberately refused to pass that motion because it doesn't concern them at the moment. But when it comes to the allowances, I remember 2017 when they were postponing the qualification for you to vie. They all agreed. And I remember Duale saying, for the sake of our honorable members who are not yet graduates, let's push this law to 2022 so that they can have 5 years to go back to school. Mm-hmm. Look at that hypocrisy. And they all passed. In 2018, they all went back to school, and we've seen them going for graduations one after the other. We did not complain. Even if we knew it was, even if we knew it would bring some incompetency in the House. But it was okay for them. They did not object. Yeah. When they were talking about extending their allowances, it was okay. Mm-hmm. When they were talking about the set-off package, it was okay. Even house allowance. Mm-hmm. House allowances, it was okay. That time, haikuwa siasa. Haikuwa ni pesa ya Wanjiko. Unaona, that time it was not. 2010 Constitution envisioned all this. And was so clear that the roles of any legislature has nothing to do with finances in it. What did what did the National Assembly do? They enacted the CDF Act to National Government Constitutional Development Fund, and they made themselves part and parcel of it by law. That time, haikuwa siasa. Okay. So this time around, because the MC, I'm not an MCA. Most probably, I do not aspire to be one. Yes. But we must be fair to all.
In fairness, the SRC takes cognizance of the similarity of the roles of the legislatures at the county and national levels. It should be noted that the category of benefits to the legislatures at the county and national levels are similar, with the exception of transport facilitation benefit car grant that is provided to the legislatures at the national level. And so, isn't it only fair that yes,
I am not against that.
Yes, you said so.
Me, I am only against the hypocrisy between these. Yes,
okay.
Where was he? The head of states have 80 years in office.
Yes.
Do you want the commission is yesterday when he directed this is when they realized that there's a silent clause in the law. Is this when they realized the MCs have been fighting up and down with CRC?
Yes.
Where were they crossing the years then? Is it until when the president said
the power spoke?
Linda, it is good that Honorable Gakuya has confirmed that he has no issues with this car grant.
Yes.
His problem is timing.
Right.
That why is it now? And I want to remind him that as legislatures who are in the lower level, we have nobody to push our issues. He is aware that we have been pushing this thing for many years. Okay. It's not a story of yesterday. It has been there. The County Assemblies Forum has been all over pushing for this. Yeah. Even as late as last year, we were in another forum in Mombasa with the governors. We still pushed for it. It got stuck. So what is the problem if you have an opportunity to meet with our big brother and he says he's going to lobby on our behalf to ensure that SRC gives us this letter? We are equally leaders like them. We need to serve our people the way they are serving their people. The roles are the same, as similar. And in fact, if they are forgetting, ours we serve these people every day. Them, they see them probably once in a month. Right. As we see these people every day.
Some don't even go home.
Some even don't go home. Okay. So when they are saying they have issues with the timing, then there is time for everything.
Well, at least with him, he's always with his
you see now,
yeah, he's always
President Kenyatta does not go to Savannah State Lodge every year.
Time, yes.
He goes there once in a while. So it's an opportunity that he was there and he was reminded there's something we've been pushing. Why can't you help us? Because you live in Nairobi with these SRC fellows. Why can't you help us push this thing? It's been long overdue. Yes. It's our right. Yes. It's not a favor that MPs are doing for us. It's our right. Like them, they have their right. They have swallowed it. In fact, Linda, let me tell you where hypocrisy is. Hypocrisy is in the members of parliament. Like I saw one of them called, somebody from Moranga, Kagema or somebody. I saw him go and assemble his constituents somewhere and tell them ati mugepatia hata hawa 10,000 na amekula milioni 7. Why did he come home with the 7 million and share with these people? He wants to share ours when he has swallowed his. You know where he lies. So I want members of parliament to be fair.
Reader, personally, I'm not even blaming them serious.
Yes.
But I am blaming the one who made the directions, the directives.
That is
because the procedure was long. Yes, take into consideration that he was pushed, and he's telling me that he will be making roadside directives after being pushed. And this is wrong for the head of state.
All right,
it's not the
we
right
hope that we can pick lessons from them.
Finally, as I address my final statement on this, there is a big element in the House in National Assembly. Yeah. This is what we call mileages. Mileages are being enjoyed by few. Okay. People from Nairobi and neighboring, we get zero mileage. Are we not equal members? But like the rest who are getting 1 million every month out of mileages. This matter is lying with SRC.
But why would you want the same amount to the person who's traveling?
Linda, the English word mileage means distance. When you have no distance, why would you want that is now eating into NGO.
You want to tell me that
eating into
let me tell you, even though I have that kilometer, that's a mileage.
Okay.
Yes. What's the mileage? Let me get the retro I supposed to earn. Yes.
After all, I'm looking at that unfairness.
Okay.
And what Mheshimiwa here is saying is that unfairness is what we should be looking at.
Address, yes.
And embrace. Because I don't see why an MP from Northeastern, like Namandera, should get $1 million at the end of the month for traveling.
Yeah.
Then, and in the same fairness that BBA is talking about, 1 man, 1 vote, 1 sharing. Because the same MP, the same citizen in Mandera gets 30,000 for bursaries. Yes. Yet Mheshimiwa Gakuya here, yes, the distance from Parliament to his constituency may be 40 km, but he might be doing 10 rounds in a day. Let's be fair. Right. He might be doing 10 rounds in a day. Okay. Akobunge ameambiwa, oh, moto. Then back. Then back. So he might be doing 10 rounds in a day, while the MP in Northeastern is doing 1 round per month. But because they have mastered the art of doctoring documents, so they are able to claim 1 million of not going.
Yet you claim 0?
Yet he claims 0. So
and this fellow does not come to Nairobi.
Yes, he does not. Yes,
and
for a whole month. But every week he has that 1 million.
Justify that.
Yes. So now it is the same in the same line. I'm looking at when I'm supporting MCAs to get their car grant. I've been into politics, and I know what it takes to be an MCA in the village. My mom was a councillor for 10 years. And I can't remember a day we took breakfast as a family alone for 10 years. I was home. Right. So it's something that I have experienced as a child.
There are always people.
There are always people in your house. You know, you abandon all the small sufurias. You abandon having eggs in the morning unless you want to do a crate or a number of them. Let's be fair. And let Kenyans also own up that if you don't want these MCAs and MPs to keep on asking for more money, you as a citizen, you as a Kenyan, also behave and stop disturbing them for roles that are not within their constitutional mandate.
Okay.
I want to advise the members of parliament. Linda, you're a lady.
Yes.
You know when you go to a wedding, probably you've not known this. I want to tell you today is that when you go to a wedding, at the end of it, when now people want to leave, there's a stage where the bride now throws the flower back. Yes. And the friends who are at the back, one of them will get the flower. Yeah. Yes. And it is said that the one who will get that flower will be the next in wedding. Is that true?
Yes, that's what they say.
So I want to tell them that instead of fighting us,
the flower
this should just accompany us to the wedding and stand behind. When we throw the flower, they'll also get. So their mileage will also be given to them.
Yes.
Fighting us does not give them theirs.
All right.
They should support us so that they are good people. So next time the president makes a pronouncement, it will be them. But you can't be seen to be fighting the man who makes statement. Then you want to claim you are bitter that yours has not been given to you. It doesn't work like that. You must be seen to support others, then you are supported.
It seems to be an agreement to that.
No, surely. Let me say this.
Yes.
Actually, I have been in this particular situation, and it is true. I totally concur with Honorable Manjiwa that actually there is a lot of strain in issues to do with dealings with the MCA's job. Taking consideration, and especially in the Nairobi, where people eat from their pocket. Don't forget that in fact most of the MCAs leave from their doorstep early before 4 p.m.
Because before the but why does it have to be that? You know, that is also one thing that we need.
Because
is it politics of handouts or what? Why does it have to be that?
That MCA is leaving as early as 4 a.m. Because as at that 4 a.m. last night, he slept at midnight sorting issues, social welfare issues. 4 a.m. there are people coming as if between midnight and 4 a.m. this MCA went somewhere and dug money.
What is so hard in acknowledging that we do not have this money? Look at this. Standoff looms over 370 billion devolved units. This is in regards to monies, and senators are raising an alarm that probably what it is that was the agreement will not reach the counties. And so what is so hard in acknowledging and telling the people that this money that you're looking for is not here?
Well,
fear that you're not going to be elected back?
It's not in the Kenyan culture.
Okay.
Kenyan culture, they believe that when you have elected a leader, that should be your savior.
All right.
When any problem knocks your door, you knock their door. That is how Kenyan have been brought up.
So how do we run away from this culture?
These people we elect today, tomorrow they'll be my savior tomorrow. So you can't tell Kenyans that they have elected you and they have problems and they don't come to you because you don't have money. You having money or not having the money is not their business. You have the seat, and they know that seat is what you should use to get for them their welfare. And that's why you see members of county assembly have problems, because these people live with them in the same villages. So they wake up in the morning at 6 or 4 a.m. in the morning just to catch up with them before they leave, because some of them will leave very early because of the fear of the crowd.
Does
Sometimes
this encourage
you are expected
corruption?
into a meeting and your house is crowded, you can't leave. You have to serve them first before you leave for that meeting.
If this money is not in existence, but you still serve them, where does the money come from? Where does this help come from? Do you get into your salaries? Is this then what encourages corruption?
You know what you do is you serve with what you have, including your salary. You know, sometimes you probably even have some small allowances from work. You use that one. And that is why you see MCAs most of the time, they are one-time politicians.
Okay.
Because you will not have enough money to serve these people. And once you don't serve them the way they expect, next time they want to try another person. Okay. They say, huyu, tulimchagua na hajatusaidia. It's not because you've not built roads. It's not because you've not built hospitals. They are there. But to them, they believe. Let me tell you a story, Linda. Somebody one day told me when I was doing roads in my ward, that I cannot bend this stomach you're putting here and put in a sufuria and put water for my children,
for my children to eat.
So it means even when I'm busy doing the road, I'm doing nothing.
Okay.
What they consider most is their stomach. What I give them to buy food in the evening, that makes sense to them more than the roads. And that is why MCAs have this problem, because people believe they're the ones who should help them in small issues. Daily activities are supposed to be financed by politicians. That they believe down there.
I guess we are better off on this end. Politics doesn't seem to be sweet after all.
That's the danger of having a campaign mood every year in, every year out. When Mheshimiwa Gakuya here and Mheshimiwa here, they elected on 2017, people who lost start campaigning in 2018. Then they are coming a presidential candidate for 2022, starting campaigning in 2018. A governor aspirant starts campaigning immediately 2018. And when the political parties, the Register of Political Parties and IBC and EACC do not take action, they encourage all that what we are complaining about.
Yeah.
So the incumbent has people and has opponents for 5 years to deal with. Then the people take advantage of that and start blackmailing the incumbent and other aspirants.
Okay.
When I lost in 2017, 2018, the number of calls I was getting, sasa mheshimiwa sasa na sijui tuanze campaign mapema. So practically all what they are telling me is come, we disrupt the incumbent.
Okay.
Yeah, they voted for him. So when you combine all those factors, then you cannot run away from the fact that citizens are encouraging corruptions within the political circles. That is my conclusion.
Right, okay, well.
Linda, that has been cemented. That's the correct position. And it's very good my panelists understand this very well. And that's how it works. And I can understand the pressure under the leadership of the MCAs. And I have no problem. I'm only blaming the directives and the manner it was done, and the timing of it, and the element being tagged under the element of passing the BB.
If such was done for you to get your mileage, what would you say?
But Linda, let me tell you,
you say no?
I am not going to gang the president in that direction, in any manner. Yes, and I believe that my conscience, my conscience cannot allow me to go that direction. But to sum up, let me say this. I believe Honorable Wajua has stated very clearly, my friend has stated very clearly, but this culture, what do we do with this culture? This culture is a culture which developed from the old regimes to date. And it's not soon that we are going to kill it. And let me tell you, there is no way that we are going to expect to go to ask for a vote and get a full basket of votes for free. So you must prepare yourself in this way. Whether anti-corruption or LEBIC will put a lot of conditionalities. Don't bribe, don't do what. Under the carpet, this has to go on.
This has to go on.
You know, in the BBI, we have a chapter that has borrowed from the Article 43 of the Constitution, where now members of the County Assembly are going to be given funds that they can even enable their people to do business. They can cater for their medical issues. I know those are most of the things that bring people to their houses. If somebody has a sick person, they don't have money to take the patient to the hospital. The Mamamboga want to do business, they don't have money to start doing those small businesses. Now under the BBI, we have a chapter that has given us this opportunity that will also be able now to ensure that our people are capacitated to do businesses. Their medical welfare will also be taken care of. And that is one of the reasons that I want MPs to support BBI. If they don't know the secrets in that document, then they should get copies and know what is in that document. Because there are more that is so beautiful in that document that if they are given that this is what we want, I'm telling you, Linda, and I'm telling you today, you will remember. One of these days, some of these MPs will want to come back to the position of MCAs because it will have less pressure. It will have less pressure because the docket has been financed so that people will be serviced without them coming to you directly. There's provision, and will be within the law, you'll be providing for them their needs without you necessarily going to your pocket. So you will not be waking up at 4 in the morning to run away from them. We will be waiting for them
to give us their property.
Happens yeah, it happens. Let me tell you, there are members of county assembly who even where they live, they go actually around midnight. Na wanaenda na pikipiki ndio asijulikane ni yeye. Na anaamuka saa 10 atoke ndio asijulikane ni yeye ametoka.
But anyway, I would relate because more or less the same thing happens with the media fraternity. When they see you on screen, they want to assume that yes, you are well, gelled. And so in that case, yes, it's true. It is very true.
It's not rosy.
Let's but equally you mnaenda kutafuta pesa.
No, hakuna kazi Kenya.
It is not rosy, but then again you just
Kenya, Linda. Hata hii yako ni moja. Siwezi kuja hapa unikwambie utoke nikalie.
Rita, I can tell you there before there was a good opportunity when this country was the population was lower, and those members of parliament, though they had small earnings from their allowances, actually they had big chunk of rand depending on, like Nairobi, people like Mwenje, Muhuri Mushiri and the rest, they found when this city was not occupied, then they have big chunk to cut, share and sell and be able to induce this money to the public or give public those plots. So they were able to come out the other. But today there is no single plot you can Majua can rely on. Equally myself. So you must rely with your pocket. When it becomes dry, you do what?
You run away. You run away or steal.
Oh yeah, steal is actually the option that is at hand.
You go to prison.
Now let's
talk a good game.
I know we cannot talk much about this, but let's get to the subject of the day, cracking the whip. One, while it could be true, and we are looking forward to see what it is that the courts will declare, that Governor Mike Sonko might have, taken part, in all these alleged, of course, cases that have been leveled against him. There's a general feel also from a certain quarter that this is a political witch hunt, that probably when he was well with the people in government, the whip was not cracked heavy on him. But now that he is out, it seems like it is the case. Do you think it's a fair way to treat your former governor?
It's a case of police unabeba nini.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Police, they are known to be asking people, what are you carrying? When they meet you on the road, you have a bag, they suspect you carried something that they don't allow you to walk around with.
Yes.
And the police hawatakupata kila mara. So the day they meet you is when they'll ask you that question, unabeba nini? Yeah, so I look at it as a situation where the government just caught up with him and just wanted to know what is he carrying. And that there's a process that has to take place. So when this process is taking place,
it is not
the law provides that he has to be taken through the court process, and all this happening now is the court process. Maybe the magistrates who is appearing before them are the ones who should tell us more why they are not allowing him bond so that he can go from. But taking him through the court process to know really whether the allegations are true or not, well, that's normal. That's a process that everybody goes through.
Very many allegations. He was probably at least allowed bond on one, but I mean, honestly.
ATPU. That is the anti-terror crime unit.
Yes.
Yeah. So if Sonko, if the court and the DPP have a reason to believe that Sonko participated in a terror-related matter, it doesn't matter which political position he holds. It doesn't matter. That one, we as Kenyans should know that the sovereignty of this nation overrules any individual, including the president. That's why the Constitution of 2010 gave the sovereignty to the people. It moved it from the president to the people.
Been here long enough, I'm sure, and some of the questions that arise are, I mean, these people did not know this prior. When we talk about the cases, the fact that he escaped from jail and all this.
I want one thing to actually Kenyans to know, that we cannot live in a country where we put why now as a defense of every activity taking place.
All right.
Why is it that all of a sudden Kenyans are now singing this song of why now, why now, why now, why now? Anything happening, why now? Anything happening, why now? Does it mean why they should tell us when was this supposed to happen? They should tell us when was this supposed to happen then? Because not everything will happen at the same time. Everything happens at its own time. You see, even me probably have issues with the government right now, but probably they have not decided to come for me. Maybe they'll come for me tomorrow. You never know.
All right.
All of us go through these processes. It's not that we have to ask why now.
Politics
when it
is a
comes
very
to
special
you.
world.
You know, let me tell you. In 2010,
yes.
In 2010, Sonko was a member of Senate.
MP.
He was a member of Parliament for Makadara, yes, and had a case in the office myself. I went through it, and I'm done with it. I'm free now. So when I see people asking why now, I ask myself, why are people saying why now when these things come to you?
Such is politics and such is the law. Sometimes it is necessary to question the times. True or false?
Reader, allow me also to interject. And I will always be happy to advise this from the panelists because of one or two considerations. That one, politics is a game, and
hold it, Mahesh. I'm told that they have to fix your microphone. There's a bit of a hitch there. Let's come back to you. Is it I mean, almost obvious that time?
The conversation of the day is about cracking the whip.
Okay. Yes.
At what time should it be cracked?
Okay.
Is when there's a reason to crack. Yes. Since we have laws, we blame the executive and the government organs for not taking action. But when they take action, we ask, we start questioning, why now? Yet, I've looked at a police station. I have a friend of mine who's an investigating officer. He travels because before he left police station A, was transferred to police station B, he had cases that he was, that he was prosecuting in court. Now he is here in police station B. He has other new cases. Okay. So this one officer has like 15 cases in court already, and there are more being reported every day. So you realize when you talk about EACC, the number of cases that they are investigating every day, and we are forgetting that that those agencies, those state agencies, do not deal with politicians only. They deal with all of us. What media has done, it has glorified politicians into their headlines.
Okay.
But if you take politicians from page A to page 10, then you realize there are so many other cases at page 10 that are not being highlighted by the media. When you ask yourself today that those people, Nambwaigoro and all those others who are Akinangilo and the rest who are laid off for corruption cases, we no longer follow them. But a day will come when this will be revised. Yes, when now media will have it on the limelight.
Will it be the media, or will it be that day has come and now maybe? I mean,
that day will come.
We've seen the directions that Sonko has been
The business
taking.
that media has is to sell news. And you look for news that you think
we
can
do not
sell.
Look for news. This is news that is out here in the broad daylight.
Yes.
Is it fair that we inform you and we update you?
Let me tell you, Linda, the day you went to court to cover Sonko, there were other people there. Why didn't you cover, after Sonko's story, why didn't you cover even those who were with him? But you understand the prominence. He's a public figure.
So we cannot overlook that.
That's why we are saying you sell news that can sell. Because if you tell them somebody small was also there with Sonko, nobody will buy that newspaper.
We sell news that is important
nothing
to the
about
people.
that person.
This is my former governor. Don't you think I would be interested to understand?
He's your former governor, but he's also a celebrity. He's known all over in the country. So when you write his name in the newspaper, even somebody in the village
but if it is you,
will want to buy that newspaper, you know.
Are you also in the same category? If it were you, I would still be following. following. You know,
Exactly. Mine was sold. Even during my day, my newspaper sold a lot.
Yes, it did.
Exactly.
But that does not justify.
But that does not conclude. It was not justified because during that time, I was in court with so many government officers, so many of them, very senior. But it is my name that was appearing in the newspaper.
I go back to the question. I go back to the question of time. And in politics, time is crucial.
Yeah.
And the way events play out is equally very crucial. And today, Kenyans are waiting to see, all right, if he goes for sanitization somewhere in Capitol Hill, will it be a different conversation for him, or it will be the same conversation as it is today? And that is based on the aspect of time. At this particular time, what political side do you incline to? What other side are you in? And in most cases, we've seen such occurrences playing out based on such. And so it is almost hard for us to overlook the aspect of time. And I'm not trying to say that this is what we should incorporate on this. And I think we'd look at it at, you know, a general perspective in regards to the conversation at large, even as we incorporate this one on what played out at the Senate.
That's where I want you media people to help Kenyans by doing what you call investigative journalism.
Right.
You come to City Hall, for example, now. Ask how many investigations are going on, how many cases are going on now, which are not in the public limelight. So many of them.
Yes.
Investigations, it's a process. And a time will come when you'll see the anti-corruption coming to City Hall and carrying like 10 officers at one go. That will be a big news because it is that day that the completion of investigation was done, and then they decided to come for them now for questioning. But when the investigation starts, they come, they ask for documents, they come and interview people there. Nobody knows this.
Sometimes we're even invited, you know, we're told, come,
you're invited to come and write a statement. You stay there the whole day. Nobody knows about that. It's very quiet. It's kept under wraps. But when it comes for you to be arrested, even the anti-corruption, you people have become buddies with them. During the arrest, is when they call you. Is when they call you with cameras everywhere to cover somebody has been arrested. But they don't call you. They don't call you when they come for investigations. And then you people also report only when they have allowed you to report.
You understand the sensitivity that comes with investigations. Honorable Gakuya, let's loop in Honorable Gakuya. We come to you on this subject.
Yeah, but I don't know whether my mic is...
It is ready, that's why I engaged you. Yes,
yes. Thank you. Read down this one. I was saying that reading between the lines, you understand where we are coming and probably where we are now. And these games of politics, I told you it works. And Sonko is now dying a death he created his own because he rattled the snake. How did he rattle the snake? You have heard him publicly making barely August statements that are invoking even the head of state. And I can tell you, if there is something that we are not supposed to do, we must respect the symbols. And we have no symbols in this country. We have only a single symbol of presidency, which is head of state. You may not respect Uhuru as a person, but the symbol has to be protected. But in fact, there is some issues, there's some element of utterances you can make, and surely you find yourself on a very bad situation. And therefore, whatever Sonko is undergoing now, he created it. And he made it. So surely, I am sure that there is no any case in this Republic of Kenya unbearable. And therefore, all circles that is being taken through are circles just to make sure that he feels it. He feels the pain. Because no single judge could tell us that cases of any single corruption, murder, or even what we call robbery stroke two, they are bearable in Kenya. And therefore you can't tell me why is Sonko doing that behind the bars up to now.
All right.
What you can say, Linda, is that you're asking about time. Time is a very key factor in our lives.
Yes.
And Honorable Gakuya said there's no case that is not bailable in Kenya. That is very true. What also he has to tell us that for a magistrate to give bail, there are certain things that must be done, background checks. There are people who, by the corridors of court language, call them flight risk. If it was if it was not somebody known, they would not even allow you to go because they fear you have. And you know also, Sonko has some history also with prison thing and escape things. You know, these things are also there. So maybe the police want to do some background check to know. And you know, when Sonko was outside here, and more so when he was the governor of Nairobi, probably you covered him in one of his functions. Sonko was surrounded by almost 100 men, who most of them were armed. You know, that's an army that is surrounding you. When that army is taken away from you, then you remain kind of naked. And then now when the police were looking for you for a few questions here and there, they now say this is an opportunity, now let's get him to ask him these questions, because maybe politicians, you know, arresting a politician is not something easy. Anaweza jizingira na watu wake ushindwe kumshika. A lot of times, even the anti-corruption, they have come for us in our houses. To arrest a politician from the residence is never easy. They time us in town because the residents will come and surround that place. You can't get away with them. So maybe it's just a process that is taking place. Maybe today or tomorrow they will release him. Remember the Joey case. How many days did Joey stay in prison? Joey is not a politician, but the processes had to be gone through. So then Joey was released eventually. He's out, but he stayed close to a year in prison. So we can't say it's something that happening to Sonko alone. It's only that Sonko is a figure that is known and is getting news coverage, but even himself, he will tell you there are people he's meeting right inside prison there who are telling him, I've been here for more than 1 year now. They have not given me bond. He can come, if he's sincere enough, you can come.
I mean, he has several counts on his head, so also
so
that
police,
is one
they
thing,
have a process they also have to undertake before they tell the magistrate, now you can release him, because there's also an element of interference with this active investigation. There's also an element of somebody refusing to show up again after getting the bond. These are fears that are with the police system. And so I would not want to make it look like it is the state, or because he mentioned the head of state somewhere. The head of state or not the head of state, the laws remain, and these laws actually at the end of the day, they are not for Sonko alone. They are for all Kenyans. And in those quarters where Sonko is now, he's not alone. He's with people who are equally complaining of the same problem. If you say now you want to go to prison to check people who are complaining they have not been given the bond, you'll be shocked.
There are very many. We've had those cases. And you know very important things.
Probably those who are behind the bar without being given bonds. Don't forget that actually maybe there are those who have no defense lawyers to seek for their bills. And once you are not represented, probably you have also some kind of handicaps. And therefore, I would say if the law has been followed to the letter, you don't have to have somebody in 2 years behind the bar in what we call a remand. If that fellow have requested for bail, yes, because the laws are very clear. They all, including murder and robbery stroke 2, are bailable. And if are bailable, the judges have a room to look for your background, which has a timeline. And at least reports have been made back to the court. And I don't expect an investigation is been for 2 good years. Waiting for what?
No, that's another thing. Yes. But remember also, we've also looked at bonds and bonds and bails as one of the key things that in a way slows down the fight against corruption, because you find that these people walk out scot-free under bail, bond, and all this.
I want to point a matter here that will give you a clear picture of where we are taking this nation. We've discussed Sonko for 20 minutes.
Yes.
How much money, how much taxpayers are we talking about when we put Sonko as a topic? Page 9 of the Daily Nation.
Yes.
AG wants KEMSA officials probed over 7.6 billion COVID cash scam. We've not discussed it.
Yes.
We will not.
Yes.
That is the scenario.
But we've discussed KEMSA for the longest of time, remember.
Okay,
and like he says, we do not get answers.
We've discussed Sonko every day. Almost every day he makes headlines, we are talking about him. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. How much are we putting people's interest?
As leaders.
Yes, as leaders.
And generally, yes.
And generally. We are talking about Sonko as a person. So how much money are we talking about when we discuss Sonko? What impact is it on people's welfare when we discuss about him? Vis-a-vis 7.6 billion.
Well,
so, and that is where I want to conclude on that matter.
Yes.
That is where me and Mheshimiwa here, we are saying that the media must also help us reduce the political glorification of individuals in Kenya.
Remember, when we're looking at this, we do not want to focus much on Sonko. And let it be very clear. In fact, my next question was about what it is that he mentioned, that sometimes we find that these leaders work with goons, millions of them, and then we ask ourselves, are we breeding militias at the level of the counties? Then we get ourselves having conversations on just how powerful are our governors. That one might have culminated from the Sonko talk, might have culminated from the Sonko talk, but it's on a larger perspective of the 47 counties. Equally on matters politics, and that is what we're talking about, cracking the whip, as we come to this one on the Senate, brings us to this conversation. It's got nothing to do with Sonko, an individual, and that's why we said, today he's in Parliament, the next day he'd want to be as an MCA. And so in the event that this happens to him, or it is happening to somebody else, would he speak of the same, or would he utter the same sentiments when it happens to him? And probably that brings us to this conversation. Yes, and I know this one is very important, it's crucial, but how many times have we spoken about KEMSA? Just how much is being done? Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta gave out an ultimatum of 21 days. It is how many days after?
How many times have we, even on social media?
Yes.
How many times, or how many mentions do we talk about politicians vis-a-vis things that count to us? It's not only about media.
You see,
even as citizens,
almost everything.
even as citizens, when we ask ourselves, 47 governors, I think over 10 have cases in court.
Yes.
Yes, so they are not above the law. Remember, Kenya, we are moving from a state where the president was above the law, so he protected his political supporters using that clause, to a place where today the president is not above the law, and the constitution and the constitution protects all of us. So for us to change that mindset from those days when the president could pardon a politician to today where the president cannot save a politician from an offense.
Yes.
That is where we are today now. And where we are headed is where a politician will be another public officer. Like you, people in media, want to be seen like any other employee, not like you have, because today, and one of the reasons why we should start looking at it that way is because Kenyans, we have had a scenario where I'm a crook, and the only way to hide is go to politics. Go to Capitol Hill for Mosho Moja, as we talk about it, or go to UDA rally for public protection. And that's why one day we are talking about Mosho Moja, the other day we are talking about why now. It depends with where the political side you come from or you belong. So if we kill that, we can honestly face off that issue of thinking that a governor who should have, I think, 3 armed officers, then come in with 100 armed officers. Yet, we do not see that as a terror threat.
Guko, you will agree with me that yes, that is also one thing. And you know, conversations run nations. And so in this case, it is only for us to have such conversations to a point where we'll acknowledge why have we been talking about Sonko for quite a long while, yet we are not benefiting. Then there, we have our minds open up and we proceed to the next conversation that would be helpful to us. And I'd want to believe then, for that very reason, I'm afraid we might not run away from talking again about these politicians. And while Goko could be castigating this, he's amongst the first people who sent me that Jubilee letter on the purge on these particular senators, to mean that it was cause for concern. There was need for us to have a conversation revolving around this. And so when we talk about cracking the whip, this is not just happening in Jubilee. It is equally happening in the likes of other parties, ODM, and it has been happening for quite a long while.
It's everywhere.
It is only necessary that we discuss this. And you started by saying that sometimes some of these politicians do not align to the ideas of the parties. And sometimes some of these ideas are fronted in their absence. So why segregate them if they're members of this particular party?
Why are you absent in your party?
Now that's the question. Some of them tell you they were not invited.
You are an absentee member.
Yeah.
How do you
Not an
expect
absentee member.
How do you expect to be a member when you are not there?
Do you agree to that?
Things are happening and you are not there.
You were not invited. Would you agree to the fact that sometimes things happen and you're not there? Why?
That's a lie.
What leader we must understand, there is always way of communication.
Yes.
If it is whipping members of parliament, there is the way that they are being whipped. And that communication is done to everybody. And if that communication is done halfway, has not done to you, you force yourself to a meeting you are not invited. And in this particular case, there is those invitations that you can only enter with that message of invitation. If you don't have it, you'll be crossed out. Okay. And therefore, I cannot stand to say that these members were invited or not, because I have no clue about it. Mm-hmm. If they were invited and they decided otherwise, then I can say they went against the will of the party. But if the party decided not to invite them, only to fix them through that particular backdoor or orthodox means, then it is wrong.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Sorry, Mheshimiwa. I'm looking at this scenario in a different perspective. I'm looking at the political farm in Kenya that is undergoing a transition from the old might to new might. When I look at the new mites that were birthed by the old might owners of political power, but when they came in, the old might declined to create a room for them within their house. This is a precedent that has happened in most democratic nations. When we go to the US, and you can see when the Democrat Party realized that the new might have to be incorporated in them, they molded Obama, and he became one of the youngest presidents in America.
Okay.
When you go to South Africa, and ANC declined to create space for new might within their party, they walked out. The Marema and the like, they walked out. And today, yeah, they have the EFP, Economic
Party.
Yeah. So it's something that is happening across the world. If you go our neighbors here in Uganda, look at what happened to the ruling party. When they could not create a small room within their own house for these new might, they walked out, Akina Bobby and the rest. So today, ODM, Ford Kenya, Jubilee, all of them are taking that precedence of this new might is being rebellious, in quotes.
Okay.
Is being rebellious, in quotes. Mm-hmm. And the best we can do is to draw them out. But you cannot draw out your own child.
What is this new mind that we're talking about in particular?
New mind is new ideologies to doing things.
Okay.
We must own up to that. There's always a new ideology to doing things. Even in media, you realize that part of your colleagues, maybe not in this station, but in other stations, they have, they have faced the crack, they have faced the whip because of maybe they had a way of doing their things, which is new might. I'm in studio, and at the same time I have a Facebook page that I have to promote. So that one is X, because that is the old might of doing things. But now here we have a new might of doing it. The more we keep on, the more we keep on fighting these new mights, the more squatters we keep creating, the more squatters a political party will keep on making within its own political farm. And the sooner they realize that, the better for them.
All right.
All political parties, they have to realize that in Kenya. Otherwise, we might end up with more independent candidates who might become squatters within their own house. And at the end of the day, the old might owners will never find peace.
Independent candidates would be good, but would it be good for the ruling party to have very few members in the House? Because, well, as it is, that is probably where it is headed. And sometimes it would be hard to twist them to get into your party if you're the person who's ruling at that point.
Well, I think the Kenyan constitution does not give much power to the independent candidates.
Yes.
And that will leave us with no choice but to join parties. And only that when we join parties, we have to make ourselves invitable when these things happening. You cannot behave in a manner that you are not cooperative and you expect to be invited where cooperative people are seated, then you go and disorganize them. Sometimes these things happen. It is politics and it happens everywhere. This thing is not happening to Jubilee only. Linda, sometime last year, it happened in Ford, Kenya.
Yes.
Even Wetangula himself, he found himself. He found himself.
It's still happening. It's still
so it's all over. Right. So let people not look at it like this is now politics. You know,
but
what
you
I'm
see,
saying,
our biggest problem is that this is the ruling party. This is the government of the day. And we ask ourselves, within the government, is there somebody else who's running a parallel government?
Government of the ruling, of the ruling day. The more reason they should clean their house.
Yes.
That's the more reason they should clean their house.
And this is cleaning
you cannot run a government. You cannot run a government when you have people who are pulling different directions and you want to move one direction. It's normal. Even you in your house, if you have a child that every day you say you should report home at 7 in the evening, latest you don't come, then they keep coming late, you will crack the whip at some point.
Is there someone who's running a parallel government within?
Rita, let me tell you, parties are owned by party memberships. Because let me tell you.
Where will you be submitting your amounts this time around? UDA? Or
I will just stop.
No, he's a new DA. He's a new DA. He's a new DA.
You will not submit the 10,000 anywhere,
Linda,
Jubilee, not...
Linda, he's a new... For now, he will stop, but I know from tomorrow he will be...
And I'd love to understand, I'd love to understand that if you're sitting in Parliament in capacity of Jubilee and you stop submitting your finances...
I mean, what is the...
You cease to be a member.
That's protecting me.
You cease to be a member.
Yeah, when you don't subscribe...
But they say again, they're not going to leave Jubilee anyway.
You know, it is same members of the party that Honorable Gakwe is talking about that make the laws for the party. Like in ODM, we have a constitution that governs the party.
Yes.
And if you go against that constitution, it doesn't matter who you are. The constitution will deal with you. So it should not look like there's somebody on top of the party who is dealing with others. It is the constitution that those members actually created to help them govern that party. And that constitution, they left to the office managers. It's not with the politicians.
In the case we are, me, I'm a member and a full member of the Jubilee Party.
But now, when you stop submitting
Linda, allow me, let me speak myself.
Okay.
I have been always repeating that actually we are not running our parties from the moon. We run our parties here. And actually, people are witnesses that it becomes a time when party does not recognize that it has members. Decisions are made by 2 or 3. Well, there is a team that is entitled to be making decisions. But part of the team is being silenced with making decisions. We have witnessed Deputy President as the Deputy Leader of Jubilee moving to the Jubilee House to consult how they will be able to fill a candidate from Sabweni.
Yeah.
And we found a Secretary General tweeting that already decision is made elsewhere that they are not going to fill a candidate there. Then you are telling me that party is a party which is being led in the right direction. If you are not involving the directors of the party, it's like you have a company, and the company have 5 number of directors, and 2 number directors are the people taking shots of the company. That company will fail because why are you sending the rest of the directors and they are part of the same? Otherwise, close that particular company, give the rest their shares, and
if sidelined in ODM today, wouldn't you
Linda, let me remind Honorable Gakuya.
Yes.
And it's good that we joined the council with him the same year. Right. I want Honorable Gakuya to remember very well the party that was called Nak Mwenge, and how we reached a situation where we had bananas and oranges. That is how ODM party was formed.
Okay.
The same things he's saying here now are the same things that were did to Raila Amolo Odinga. When he had fought so much to put Kibaki in power, Gakuya and his friend, Gakuya in front, I was with him. Gakuya and his friends were the same people who were blocking Raila from getting his rightful share of the party. And that is how now, when they brought the constitution, then the symbols were banana and oranges. We ganged up as ODM and we beat them to their own game. Right. And Raila did not complain that I'm a part and parcel of this government. Yes. Now you are denying me. Raila walked out. Remember, Raila walked out with all his cabinet. Yes. And everybody who was in ODM who was given any slot, they all resigned and went away. Yes. Why can't Gakuya and his brothers do the same and leave Uhuru alone?
But you see, leader, you know, the Jubilee Party Constitution I read it, I think last week, but one. The deputy party leader deputizes the party leader on affairs delegated to him or her by the party leader. The National Governing Council, if I'm not wrong, or is it the National Management Council, one of it, committee, makes decisions for the party, then trickles them down. The party leader for Jubilee Party has power to work with other political parties. It is only the party leader who has that power.
Which he has done.
On behalf of the party.
Yes.
So the Mswabeni case was a case of the party leader working with other political parties, ODM for that matter.
Why not inform the deputy?
Then, how sure are we that the deputy was not informed?
He declared.
No.
Okay, well.
Remember, Bomas Uhuru told us that he was all along he had been briefing the DP on the issue of BBI,
but
DP was keeping us busy. That he doesn't know what is happening.
Why was he declaring it?
He did not deny in front of Uhuru. They were all there.
Open to say that he would have not.
He has not denied. From the day Uhuru said that, he has never gone public to deny.
And the president said at Sagana, when the last meeting, when he met the public, the president gave, the president spoke about it. He said at Bomas, ile wakati nilianza kusema mambo ya BBI, alikuja akaniambia wacha hiyo mambo. Because he realized that the president was speaking the truth. So we cannot sit here and say that he was not informed by the party leader about the decision not to field a candidate in Mswabeni. When the party itself in Nairobi fielded a party, what did he do? He endorsed a UDA candidate.
Yes.
In Nakuru County, Ladan Ward and Lakeview Ward, he held a fundraising luncheon for UDA candidates against his party, Jubilee Party. In fact, I am blaming Jubilee Party and registrar of political parties for not cracking the whip as it should. And what we should accept here is the bureaucracy in democracy abuses democracy.
Hold it right there. Then we want to understand, as a merger, Jubilee coming together, but within themselves also, just how much of a leeway does the Constitution award individuals that sit within a certain party, one, to come up with other parties while they're still in these particular parties, two, to field candidates or to support certain individuals while their main party supports this. And just how much can we say that all these parties that were merged to be Jubilee, were merged, and as that now they should work as Jubilee as opposed to, in their own special capacity also working as those particular individual parties?
One reader, let me say the law is very clear that it gives a law for correction of parties before election or after.
Okay.
So what you do is that once you make a correction agreement, you have to restart particular agreement to the registrar of parties so that the guidelines that you have put actually can be able to guide the registrar on agreements and at what point this has to be done. And this is what happened during when the Jubilee corrupts all their small parties, including the DP's party and the likes, and they created one big party, which is now the Jubilee.
Yeah.
And that particular memorandum is well listed in the registrar's office. What happens today, reader, is that out of that memorandum, it's like totally some element within the party decided now to sideline part of the rest and calling shots directly without considering that this was a correction party. And that is where things went wrong and that's where the rain started falling on us. Because surely you can't tell me that actually I am just a sycophant being called a deputy party leader, and I have no say in my party. It tells me that that's a total disgrace. And let me tell you, I corrupt my party, my full party, joining this party and I have no say in this correction.
What stops him from having the say? I mean,
in this particular case,
let's acknowledge from the word go.
Yes, what makes this is that then the curtains are being closed, that you cannot be able to say it. The Secretary General is the record, telling the Deputy President not to hold even conferences in the Jubilee office.
Hold it right there. Let's take a quick break and then come back, finish up in about 10 minutes or so.
When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken.
We're on air, gentlemen. We're coming to a close on this conversation on the crack, and this is something I've had for the longest of time. We keep saying, why don't you exit the stage if it is that bad?
Rita, I have repeated twice and thrice that actually we are living in this country. And I can tell you, immediately the Deputy President decided to get out of this particular government, I can tell you he will be hunted like antelope. And let me tell you, you have seen withdrawal of his security in some areas that actually he visits. It shows you that tomorrow, if we decide to move out of the government, the manner in which he's being treated when he is a member, when he is a Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, if he's been given such a disgrace, such kind of disrespect, how do you think he'll be treated?
Why would they hunt him if he's clean?
I can tell you for sure. I can tell you for sure.
Why? It's the fear of unknown. It's the fear.
No, why would they hunt him if he's clean?
Yes, no, he is clean.
Around me.
Why fear?
Around me, leader.
Okay.
Yes. We have seen Sonko and his kind of.
But you have said these are troubles that he caused to himself, and we have seen records that indicate that indeed these are some of the things that he caused. And so in this case, I do not remember any occurrence where the DP has incriminated himself in the public domain. Why would...
I am telling you, this is not an issue to do with even arresting him.
Okay.
But he will not be able to do any public rally. He's not going to be. And let me tell you, the government will gang completely and seal. And let me tell you, he will not be allowed to do any gathering.
After all, his term is almost done. So what will happen then?
Linda, you know Honorable Gakuya is my friend. He's my brother. We have been with him in this game for a long time. But I want to send him to his UDA people.
Yes.
That they should learn politics from one Raila Amolo Odinga. Most of the people there now are his students. You know, Raila in early 90s, he resigned from his position as a member of parliament for Kibera. He went back to the ballot with a different party. He fought tooth and nail. He won that seat. In 2004, when Kibaki shortchanged him, with the help of some of Gakuya's brothers, he walked out with all of his team. And he said, now you are bringing constitution which is not favorable to the people. We are going to go against you when we are out here. He did not say we are fighting you when we are with you. No, he said because I believe in the people. He's saying
this is calculative. Probably they have learned from him and they've realized
there's one thing he's saying that they have some issues that when they leave government, the government will penalize them. That is fear of unknown. They should know they are clean. If they are clean, they are clean. If they are not clean, it's a time bomb. It will come. Yes. At the end of the day, it will come. Even Sonko did not know that when he leaves the government, these things will come. But he knew he had records that the government needed to check. Only that time will tell. But for them, it's important, as they believe in the people. They keep telling us they have masses outside there. They have the hustlers nation. They call it hustler nation. Why can't they just walk out as the hustler nation and face Uhuru from outside instead of troubling him from inside?
He has explained that.
That fear,
let's go back to
that
history
fear,
briefly. Yes?
that fear of being victimized, in quotes, does not exist. It is a fallacy that they are using to remain.
They say also is a strategy they are using to be allowed chance to traverse the different paths, looking at the ultimate goal.
Because government agencies today still have power to stop a meeting. They stopped the Kisii meeting.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that they cannot duplicate that.
That is
they
just
can.
an example.
But,
let me try and
the moment, and I repeat, the moment we start creating imaginary enemies, the moment we start creating non-existent ideologies, the moment we start moving slogans into theories, the moment we start saying that we have 169 MPs who attended a parliamentary meeting in Karen, so that moment of creating imaginary power, that moment of saying we are this, when in the reality you are not. Because Raila himself, even let's even look at a different politician, Musalia. Now, Musalia left UDF, went formed his ANC. He brought in 2017. He has his people.
Do you realize the ultimate goal?
The ultimate
that
goal.
Raila Odinga has not been able to get.
The
to
ultimate
date,
goal.
Even has been
Then now the ultimate goal is to get the presidency. Yes. If today you know,
it's not that Raila has not been able to get. They have been stealing it from him. They have confirmed here. Just the other day, they're all confirming that they have been stealing from him all along. So he has been getting it.
So like I said here 2 weeks ago or a month ago, deputy president as a person enjoys power as a deputy president. All other supporters of Hazardous Nation do not enjoy that power. We saw in Kisii when Osolo and Aratu were fighting, the same Mheshimiwa Gakuya saying that the deputy president is not protected. He had a ring of wreckers squad, armed commandos around him. And they were ready for anything to protect the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. No other MP, Akina Osolo and Akina Aratu were throwing legs and hands all over. the state didn't care about them. They cared about the deputy president.
My final submission
yes,
on this.
30 seconds.
I would say that, in fact, it is democratic right of the deputy president to decide whether to quit or stay put.
Okay.
Yes,
but it's also abuse of office. And for a Jubilee Party member to abuse the constitution of the party that they subscribe to. Because if they have an issue with the party, there is the registrar of political parties to write to. Today, if I'm a member of ODM and I have an issue with the party, I write to the party. If the party does not respond, there is even the Political Parties Act even gives us the political parties tribunal. So we have a process that I can use to seek.
And reader, I can tell you, we have systems, we have deep states, which micromanaged. It micromanaged even the registrar office.
As I wind up,
yes,
I want to send a message through my brother that the only reason why they are not quitting is because the numbers that they keep telling us they have
don't exist.
They don't have those numbers. Those are people who are paid to come, and they fear that if they walk out, somebody will give them a bigger offer and they will not be available for them anymore. So if they think that they have those numbers, in town we say, kama wanajinauo vile wanajua wanajinauo, wamonchoke wakuje mtaani tuwaone.
I can tell you, by the end of this year, reader, you find all of us close there.
That is because by the end of this year, because one, their loans will have they will have serviced their loan. Two, they'll have gotten into a campaign mood. Three, they'll just be 4 months to parliament being dissolved. So in short, they will not be walking out. They'll be going to campaign for themselves. So to me, in conclusion, they are cowards. They are cowards.
Exactly. It's like we're starting another show, right?
They are cowards. They are hypocrites. And they do not. They are not supporters of.
No, 30 seconds at most.
Me, what I would say is that nobody is coward. I am telling you that actually we built the house together. And let me tell you, we cannot move out of this particular party. If you want us to move out, give our share. We'll move out.
All right. Let's close it at that. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Honorable James Gakuya, Member of Parliament, Embakasi North. Unajua kujinauo na kumonchoka on the sidelines will teach you that. And of course, Iroko Boko, who's a governance expert. And lastly, the Deputy Nairobi Speaker, that is Honorable Geoffrey Majiwa. It was good having you this morning. It is a whole different affair that we're walking into after this break, where we discuss money matters for the youths, but not before I remind you of the incredible offers that we have for Valentine's right here on Morning Cafe. On Friday is going to be a special one for you as we usher in the weekend of love in style. Lots of goodies from Valentine's Cake House. We'll be awarding you people cakes so that you can celebrate with the people that you love. We do not forget what it is that Mizizi Africa Homes is giving you. Mizizi Africa Homes deals with matters land and of course houses, but then again there are numerous steps that you, not really numerous, pretty simple steps that you have to go through, and courtesy of Mizizi Homes, you will be allowed to proceed and enjoy a travel trip to the coast with your loved one. 2 slots for this, and so I'll be updating you before we get to wind up the show on these key steps that you will be taking to get to know how you get to win that particular whatever trip or a get away for your loved one. We'll also be having UIP that will be giving you land. Pretty simple. Share your story of love on our social media platforms. We have the hashtag TV47, hashtag Morning Cafe, the hashtag Love Wins, and you will be told whether your story is the one that has conquered all for you to get that piece of land. Importantly, also we'll be doing this at the Emory Hotel, and they will be awarding you, courtesy of Morning Cafe, a chance to enjoy that night out with your loved one on that Valentine's night, or the previous night, so to speak. That is Saturday, waking up to Valentine's free of charge, and also affordable offers that they will be giving you. So ensure that you be part of this, because it is our own special way as Morning Cafe to share love for the people that always wake up every other morning to tune in. So we take a break. We come back with Matters Finances for the youth. So don't you go anywhere. Thank you, gentlemen.
When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant, and the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m.
Fluent financial skills are a crucial part of every other individual, especially at this time, an age of matters technology, and that, fact that the global fraternity is taking that trajectory. It is very important and necessary that you equip yourself financially. Unlike back then, when, we could talk about matters, finances, and equipping one, at a very, say, later stage, things have changed. Today, we say that we need to equip our children with skills at a very tender age. Start talking to them about, saving, start speaking to them how best they can be able to acquire money, in small skills that you also conduct in your own special ways. And so times have changed. It is even crucial when you get to that level of, you being a youth. It is important that you get to understand that it's all right, probably today I do not have finances, but it's just a matter of time and I'll be loaded. How do I get to manage my finances? So today we'll be discussing youth and finances. Indeed, a special show for the youth out there. So if you're here, make sure that you grab your pen and your paper, because we have a financial specialist who will also be taking us through this particular conversation to get us understand just how best can we handle this. And I am glad to have him join us this morning as we ponder the same and we get to understand some more. Alexander Kahoro is a financial expert. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
And technically more or less in that bracket of a youth.
Yeah, sure.
And so, sometimes we look at youths who understand so much in terms of monies and we tend to envy them because, well, such is not what we were privileged to get. Yeah. And so at this point, I think it will resonate more as you speak to fellow youths on just how best it is to understand your finances, to even plan, even before you get to that point where you have money. And so I'd love for us to start with the basic. Just how important is it for the youths to be alive to how best they can handle their finances?
All right. Thank you so much, Rinda. My name is Alexander Kahoro.
Yes.
I am a branch operations officer with Fortune Sacco here at Nairobi. We are based at the junction of River Road and on Angara Street.
All right.
So when you come there, you can get to see us. So thank you, Linda, for having me and TV47. It's a topic that I'm passionate about. I've been with microfinances, I've worked with the youth, and currently I'm with a SACCO, and this is the best time to discuss the matters of finance and the youth. Yep.
All right, so best time it is, but just how best or how good is it for us to discuss these matters?
You find that as a youth, once you get maybe your first employment, the first thing is to buy the things that you desire. The car that you'd wish, the place that you'd like to stay. And you find that some of these mistakes that we make using our first paycheck later come to haunt us in the future. So I think the best thing is to equip us young people with saving skills which can help us for the future and saving for tomorrow, so that we can have like investments which are earning. As we also earn to get that income, we also have some money which are saved aside, earning for us with an interest.
Okay, at what point then one would want to ask? Most of the youth will tell you, why should I speak or why should I think matters investments when I do not have money? You understand the, the situation in the country in terms of, levels of employment pretty much low. We still talk of how best we can create jobs for our very own, but we also appreciate the fact that, most of the youths are getting into the creative space, and, they do not wait for those moments where, the government will provide jobs for them. They're getting into this space. But before they get to it, most of them will argue, what is the point of having this knowledge? I do not have the money. At what point should one now start equipping themselves? At the point where, they've not gotten the money yet, and so they're preparing themselves, or just when they start now realizing these, interests?
I would think the best thing is to equip yourselves before you have the money.
How logical would that be? How much sense would that bring on board in terms of preparing for the future?
I think preparation is key.
Yes.
And once you prepare enough before the money, you find that once immediately you start acquiring or earning some income, you'll have no stress. And we have a lot of spaces which are giving us financial skills, personal finance. We also have even support groups on how you can manage whatever income that you might get. So I think the best thing is let's prepare early enough so that when we earn or we start getting this income, then it will be able to help us putting it into the right basket.
All right, when we talk about preparing, what exactly are we looking at in terms of ensuring that, yes, there's that financial literacy, one, and that financial literacy is then instrumental at that point when we start handling money?
I would think first, I know as a youth, each has a goal. What do you want to achieve? Then each goal, maybe I want in this, how many years to have acquired a car, I want to have my own place. So I think goals shape the way, the way we would wish to have the money. Yep.
Well, at a tender age, while we could say that goals could shape that, sometimes we have our goals, well set, but in future you realize that we probably go, a different direction in regards to those goals. Yeah. With the kind of literacy that we equip ourselves, are there any changes or adjustments that would be needed?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes we set our goals along the way.
Yes.
There are a lot of factors.
At 25, I want to be this, I want to be this, and then before you know it, it is not that.
Yeah, it is not. So one thing I've realized, like personally, having that goal, it's also good to have like a mentor or a financial expert who can be walking through you the journey, and then you can be fast tracking. Maybe the goals that you have set, are you achieving them? Are you in the way? Are you in the direction of that? So once you realize maybe you have lost track, it is easy to get back. So I think the best thing is analyze yourself time to time, maybe 6 months, 1 year, so that you can be able to know, are you on track? If you are not on track, you can quickly be on the right place. Yep.
All right, as a financial advisor, what does it take to get to walk through, young tax into understanding matters finances?
One thing, as young people, you have to understand their interest.
Okay.
So currently there is the digital world, so you have to be up to whatever is going on. Then the digital space, the creative skills. We have actors, we have all those people who are in the creative industry. And the best thing is get to know their interest. What do they wish to acquire? Some of them, they want equipment so that they can be able to work well. People who are in photography, they need good cameras, which come at a cost. So I think understand their interest, then work up on that. Yeah.
The practicability of things are pretty crucial in this stage or so. And I know it's good to prepare, as always they've said in every other field that you'd want to venture into. Sometimes it's good to do research and prepare and all that. But again, also, sometimes with finances, money is necessary. The actual aspect of it, the balancing of the sheets is pretty much necessary for one to probably get to understand some of this. And I think I will acknowledge that. That at some point in time, yes, someone would tell you, learn this about finances and everything, but it never made sense when the money was not there. So when we look at these lessons and these, processes at an early stage, what is the practicability of it when there's really no money?
Yeah, I understand when there is no money, it becomes difficult. But again, looking at the experiences, maybe of our friends, or what is going on, like we had the COVID, people are affected. So if you had no savings set aside, jobs were lost. So I think based on whatever is happening around, you can be able to see that it is really necessary to have these skills.
For instance, you tell me it's important to save, it's important to invest in a SACCO.
Yeah.
But I do not even have the starting capital, the starting amount of money that is about, say, 1,500 to get to join a SACCO. Yeah. How will that make sense to someone who does not even look at the future as promising? And in the sense that they would probably incorporate this knowledge, and when time comes, they will indeed capitalize on the same.
I think sometimes mention of a goal, and I've met people who are at lowest moment.
Yeah.
And the best thing is understand the person. What do they want to achieve? Then break it down. I have some youth I've engaged. They are opening an account with 50 shillings, starting with, but with time they keep on adding until the minimum share is required. Like here at Fortune, we don't limit. How much do you have? You have 100, you have 200. We have even those hawkers who sell clothes there. So we encourage them, come to us, start saving. We will not request for 5,000, 2,000 let go. Just open an account, you just need an ID. Once you open, then let's work together in this journey. So you find that even maybe like for us, the opening balance is 1,000 shillings. So if you're putting 100, 200 shillings, you might not even know when that amount is. So I think the best thing is, let's break down those goals that they have. Then let's show them that it is possible to achieve them. Then with that, you also inspire them. They feel inspired. They feel it is easy to get to where they want to.
What are the basics that then one would incorporate as a financial, say trainer or, guider or expert, as you're trying to, first of all, incorporate and understand the goals and the ideas of a certain group or a certain individual who would love to get advice from you? What are some of the basics in terms of the knowledge that you'd start feeding them? Because then we understand, even as a baby, you do not just feed the same meals, step by step. So what are some of the basics that some of these youths should start picking up from, maybe say teenagers or even the tender young ones?
Yeah. I think one of the key basics is any money that you get on your hand, have a certain percentage to save. Don't eat it all. The other thing is discipline. You also need discipline, because remember, you're working on something, and it needs persistence. Sometimes the income is low, so discipline is also key. And also commitment. We also need a commitment to whatever we intend to achieve. And lastly, take a track. Be on track. Maybe I said, maybe by the end of the year, I need to have accumulated like 50,000, 20,000, and small steps also.
Okay.
Yeah, small steps. Let's walk slowly until we get there.
All right.
Yeah.
Increasingly, we see a huge number of students and youthful figures, teenagers running into debt. And today we had one of the newspapers highlighting just what really could have informed the fact that most of the people now are not able to enjoy the mobile banking, privileges on matters debt currently, because of some of the things that they never did right. Well, some of them being the fact that you buy this line, unakopa kwa hii, alafu unatoroka, you close that line, you don't pay this debt. One, what informs this? Two, how do we get our young ones off this hook at a time when they have already gotten into it? They probably understand the sweetness and they have experienced the dangers too.
I think one challenge that we are having as a country, I wish we learned this in school.
Yeah.
That is financial literacy, financial planning, and it should be in our syllabus or our curriculum. Let's start teaching our kids from a tender age. Why do I need to save a coin? Why do I need to even whatever, maybe the expenses? Based on the income that I'm getting, the money that I'm getting through my hand, at least a little bit of it should be put into a savings account. Then with the issue of the CRB, it has greatly affected.
Yes.
That comes with also the life. You see, the YOLO, you only live once. So maybe you're in a bar with your friends, So you find that when the bill comes, you just go to Mshwari, borrow, and that will be it. So the next thing will be now changing the line so that you can continue with the same trend. And I think the way we use whatever we have matters, and that's what we need to impact on our kids. Yeah.
All right. It is interesting also to note that with the current generation, there's that strong urge for them to get to learn, matters finances. They are really out there, trying to quench their thirst on financial literacy.
Sure.
And then one would want to ask, what informs this excitement and this desire and need? Also, with the very same statistics that are out here, is that in as much as maybe there's some positivity that comes along with that, is that some of them just get into that so that they know how to manage themselves, especially with this kind of debts that they incur. How then do we incorporate this knowledge to a point where we know very well it will be helpful, as opposed to the fact that, you know, some of them would use the same knowledge to run into, you know, financial distress?
So I think based on the statistics which has been there, I think the best thing for the youths, or for us,
yes,
is keep on, keep on impacting knowledge. There are a lot of materials that you can learn. We have newspapers, we have magazines, and also internet. There are a lot of all these financial experts that tell us on the best way to keep our financial, and also consumption, reduce our consumption, so that we can have something to save.
All right.
Yeah.
So you sleep, I don't want to say sleep poor today. Well, you sleep without money today, and boom, the next day, you probably got yourself into a creative activity that has awarded you so much money. Or maybe you took part in a certain contest, and boom, you have about 5 million at your disposal. Money you have never touched in life as a young tech. There's family, there's people, there's so much pressure around you. How do you manage this as a young one?
All right.
Yes.
So I think the best thing, you have that money. One step will be sit down, plan. Because again, a lot of failures are caused by not planning.
Yes.
You have that huge amount of money. Even for the creatives, like you do a certain work, you are paid a huge check. Once you receive that check, with no planning, you start using that money. And I'm sure you can blow even 100,000 in a day. So I think the best thing, sit down, plan. How do you want to spend this money? How do I want to spend this money? Then once you plan, then you start working towards it. Maybe you are in education. I want to complete my master's. What you set it aside for this. Then you have the parents. How much do you wish to the share to give them? Then you have now the improving yourself. Maybe you want a good car. Maybe such all that. And then again, it is also good to note that money that you receive, set it aside so that it can work for you. Like for us at Fortune Circle, we have investment accounts which earns interest. Like we have an account called Gotv account. This account is more of a fixed account, but it allows you to deposit time to time. Okay. So once you set such money aside, imagine earning 10% per annum on the money set. So you'll find that that interest, you can be using it or keeping it so that you can build the savings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so savings, interest strategies, and credits, the youth would really love to understand this. And sometimes you're told, well, you probably could be having a monthly salary that is good enough to keep you going. And you ask yourself, how then do I invest, even with the little that I have, so that I'm able to secure my future? And most of the people, will tell you, however much you do not want to hear this, however much you don't want to run into debts, it's almost inevitable, and in most cases, it could be vital for one to incur loans, one to delve into that line of credit. Would it be advisable to incorporate this knowledge and literacy in the minds of youths in terms of, is it wise to proceed and get credit? Is it wise to run into the land of loans for as long as you know very well that you could be able to sustain the same?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because first, I wouldn't advise for credit first, because I think you ask for a credit with a purpose.
Yeah.
So the best thing, and you find most of the time, we have credit cards. What is the purpose of that? Whatever credit that you wish to take, what is the purpose of it? Is it to buy an asset? Is it for lifestyle? You see. So because again, no money is enough.
Yeah.
Even a person earning $1 million will still complaining. So I think the best thing, and this is one thing I wish I learned, and also it's a lot of people can relate with. The best thing is, once you receive that first paycheck,
yes,
start saving right away. And the best way I've seen it, don't let money to come into the account so that you can save. Sometimes discipline, you can have deduction at source. Maybe you are employed. Ask your HR to be deducting like 10,000 to be going into a circle or a bank or such. So that the money that you get, it's just for your purpose. Already you have deducted the savings. Again, for credit, I think it would be best for an asset. Because again, an asset gains value. And this an asset in this case, maybe a land.
Right.
A motor vehicle will not encourage as you are beginning your career. But along the way, you might feel that you need. But the best thing, start saving immediately. And also, if you feel that you are not disciplined enough, let it be deduction at source. Also, you can have like a group. We have chamas of young people. I'm also in chama, and we are doing so much. So the best thing is, if you feel that maybe achieving a certain goal is hard, you can join people of like-minded. Then you'll work together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's this, evident gap, and I think I started by addressing it. I do not know how we get to curb that. How do we get to, get off that, gap? In the sense that, the oldies will always have this thing that they paint in mind, that they think the teens, the youths should learn in terms of finances. And in most cases, they tend to limit so much, to them. Just how then do we bridge this gap at a time when things are moving very fast? And I think I started by saying technology is here, so much is changing. People are so much into the world of, employing themselves, self-employment, as opposed to waiting for, employments from the government.
So I think the best thing, we can have like policies.
Okay.
Which will guide us at an early stage. Like for us who used to receive help, the Higher Education Loans Board, I think they can start with that. Let's be trained, let's have that knowledge, whatever money that we get. Because you find that you used to blow that amount in a week and you are left the other time suffering in campus. So I think we can have, and we have like youth fund, they can incorporate policies. Maybe before they give this money out, they first equip us with information on once you get this is how you do it, and you'll become successful in that. So let's have policies, let's have organizations that are into youth coming up so strong and encouraging people. This is the way. This is why you need to save. All
right, incredible. The few who are lucky enough to have money in circulation already, or our finances in existence, will tell you that some of them would say, okay, well, then this is money. Someone will start up a business, another one will say, okay, let me save this one and all that. Let's speak to those who are, one, planning to start up businesses or have already started the businesses, in terms of managing these finances, and equally in terms of making reviews that will be helpful to ensure that you make gains, you make interest. Because I have had a sitting with a consultant in regards to matters businesses and gaining of interest, and they told me, I mean, in most cases you find that people are running, like you can literally be running a shop for years and you're not making any profit, but just because a shilling is coming in, there's that feel that there's money that is circulating. I mean, how do we get to sit them down, speak to them, that when they set up such, in the end, they end up making these profits that would be beneficial in terms of making them better people financially?
For those starting businesses, for the young people, I think the first thing is you can do an analysis. You are starting at this stage.
Okay.
I've started with 50,000. And again, it's also good to note, once you're in business, it calls for a lot of denials. Maybe the lifestyle have to change. You have to lower down expenses as much as possible, because you might find that the income that you're getting from the business, you are using it to fund maybe your lifestyle or such. So first do analysis. How you are started at what stage? Maybe I've invested 50,000. Then maybe you can. We have a lot of online apps that you can be gauging even the sales, the expenses, and eventually will give you the income at the end of it all. The other thing is you can have a mentor There's people who are ahead of you in that business. How have they achieved? How have they become to be that successful? Pick the good things in them and learn with them. So I think the best thing is it's always good to review
constantly.
Constantly. Review time to time, 3 months, 2 months. I started with 50,000 and by 3 months, where am I? Is it at 20? Then you realize maybe there's something wrong. Either the goods that you are getting, is it at a high cost, you see. So I think in those reviews will inform for the future decision in terms of the growth of the business. Yeah.
All right. Well, COVID is here with us. So much has happened. So much has changed. Adjustments have been made. In the youthful angle, do you suppose then that out of COVID we learn of the numerous adjustments that could be necessary in the event that we'd want our youths grow up, with that literacy on matters finances, and they get to a point where in the event that there's crisis, they do not end up taking themselves to square one just because they did not know how best they can manage the situation.
Yeah, that is very important. And you find that like the COVID, a lot of people have learned the hard way. And one thing I'm really pushing is have an emergency fund account where you can be setting funds aside, an account that you have knowledge, so that when such times come, then you can use such money to help you stay afloat. The other thing is lifestyle. I think we really need to, however much you want a good life, you want to live once, there are a lot of things. Maybe like for the youth, maybe somebody who has not started a family. Maybe after a few years, you'll start a family. So you wouldn't wish to bring kids or children, then they find you with nothing. So I think the best thing is let the stages of life also direct you or give you direction to where you are going. So an emergency fund is necessary. For those who are starting families, we have junior accounts. So you can start saving for your kid as a day old, so that immediately he starts school or she starts school, you just be going, doing a check and remitting to whatever. So again, for medical insurance, we have NHF, such, so that those issues maybe cautions us, maybe for unexpected. Maybe when you are sick, you don't have to use the money saved so that you can get so I think the best thing, let's have emergency fund account. Let's start early in terms of planning for the future. Okay,
as parents or as guardians, if you're saving for your children, at what stage then should they have the knowledge of the existence of this, that this is a special account for you, and in this account then you can start something, you can go out there and use it to create some level of opportunities and bring you that stability, in a wise way, or so to speak.
All right. So like here at Fortune, for our junior account, we call it La Money. And once you acquire it, we usually have we have a correction box where maybe at around 4 years, using those coins that are in the house for the changes, you can start encouraging your kid. Once you get this money, or maybe I give you for sweets, you can decide, no, let me not buy sweets. Let me put it in the account. So through that, they will see the need to save. And once you accumulate, you take your kid with you to the bank. Then you give it to the teller or somebody, so you keep it. So, and they will keep growing. They will see the sense of, why do I need to save this coin?
I would want to imagine that kids are very interesting, but in as much as they save and have so much, sometimes they always want to know, so after I have saved, then what? How do you incorporate these sweetness and this knowledge of the benefits of having this proper financial literacy to these lessons that are there, so that they get to understand the importance of this? Because in most cases, you want to understand the end goal. And I keep, talking about this experience of mine where one of a very close relative was always constantly with me. Those moments when you get jobs very early and you're still tender and you're still excited, you want to buy dresses every other time. This person was not there to tell me, it's important that you save, it's important that you venture into this. But years later is when they tell me, I hope you save. And then I was like, I wish you told me this 5 years back, maybe I would have been very firm. The numerous times I have seen insurance people approaching me, and indeed I had this money at my disposal, but it felt like, these people just want to con me into something that would not be sustainable. So how do we incorporate this sweetness and this information that, after all said and done, these are the benefits that come out of this?
One, we'll go by, let's by teaching them. Maybe because they are the benefits of saving. One, you have the interest, the stability.
Yes.
So I think the best thing, let's sell the benefits to them. I not so ensure that, like, once you are stable, you are ensure that, like, if you sit around them, I have 100,000 kept somewhere. So you'll be stable in terms of whatever comes, you are good. And also the interest and on the money saved. By the end of the year or a certain period, I'll get a certain interest. Okay. So I think those two things they are motivating factor in terms of why I need to save. Yeah.
Where do they get some of this information? Because it's not all of us that are privy to this information. It's not all of us that have access to financial experts. Some of us would argue that these are expensive ventures, and so you choose not to even bother yourself. Just how much information is at the disposal of the youths in terms of getting themselves to that literacy level of matters finances?
Oh, I think as per now, the information is less. Again, where do I seek this information? Yes. So, and I think it can start, or it's a narrative that we need to start. For the youth, we have the youth groups at the local level, from the sub-chief, local chiefs. Let's have those youths gathered and people coming and informing or giving them why it is necessary. So I think let's start at the grassroots. Let it start at schools, both primary, secondary, also in campus. We are. While in campus, you are preparing yourself for the corporate world. I think a lot of people miss that opportunity to have been equipped with the skills necessary. And we find that people are learning into debt. You are in good job, but at the end of the month, I think by second of
you have nothing. You paid all the debts. Now you have to start. Borrowing again.
And with that, I've seen you cannot be at peace. Even career growth. You will stagnate because, again, you stress. Any time you have no peace of mind, I'm sure you cannot be able even to perform at work. So I think at all those stages, it is very necessary to have people who are informing them, who are educating them, and telling them why this is necessary. Yeah.
Live within your means is one thing that you're constantly told. It's okay. Sure. It's okay to desire to have a very beautiful dress, but I mean, at the end of the day, after getting that dress, then what? You run into debt. I think it's important that you look at some of these checks and balances. And again, most of our parents really fear allowing their children to manage finances. Even the simplest of coins that you'd find in the house, you're like, it is a taboo for a little girl or a little boy to be seen with money. I think times are changing, and people are running away from such.
Absolutely.
Once in a while, allow them to handle the money and see how best they can do that. All right, so as we get to a close, Alexander, what is this one thing that you'd want to tell the youth out there in terms of ensuring that they're well equipped financially?
Okay. So one, as a youth, I would wish to tell all my youths that one, we need patience, because that is one thing that is affecting us. You want to have it all at a go. I think the best thing is, I need this car. Yes, I need it, but sustainability. Can I be able to sustain this car for a month or two? So I think patience is key. Let's have that stages. The first thing is maybe equip your career. The next stage is have your life in stages. Then get a mentor or get a financial expert, and there are so many. The other thing is a financial partner as well. Circles, we are coming so strong because early days, circles were for maybe the old people, etc. So like Fortune Circle, we are pushing to have the youth on board, and we have exciting products that encourages them to join them. So the best thing, have that financial partner that will walk through, somebody who can understand your needs. Like when you join Fortune, you find that at the point of registration. We already know. This is Linda. She's into media. What? So even the
steps
product,
to walk
yeah. So even the products that we are offering, they are suited for whatever career path you are in. So I think have that financial partner whom you can walk through towards the journey.
Thank you so much, Alexander. And while we could say that information could be minimal out here, I think it's also so much, at your disposal in comparison to what was there during, the former times. And so it is important that you take advantage of that. Go out there, ask question. Sometimes you will not, you will end up, of course, appreciating the fact that you even had the confidence and the courage to proceed and ask. There's so much that is out here that would be helpful, for the few coins that you could be having. And, one person once told me, take care of the pennies. The big money, the notes and all this will take care of themselves. And I think I agree to that. In most cases, we say, ni shilingi moja tu, sijui nini nini. But if you take care of that, the others will fix themselves. And trust you me, you will not have that financial distress that we always talk about. It was good having you, Alexander Kuhoro, who's a financial expert with Fortune Sacco, and we're looking forward to have more and more conversations on matters of finances that are indeed dear to us. I do not go without reminding you again, it is the month of love, it is the week of love, the weekend is all about Valentine's, and Morning Cafe has goodies for you. Look at the screen, we have a trip to Mombasa. Mizizi Africa Homes is awarding you that courtesy of Morning Cafe. Simple steps to go through, and you'd be able to get this trip. Share the poster on your timeline. This particular poster that you see right here, it is all of our social media platforms. Use the hashtag below, that is hashtag Morning Cafe, at hashtag TV47, hashtag Love Wins. Then tag TV47 on your Facebook page or on the particular platform that we're talking about. And of course, the post that gets the most likes on Facebook gets to win this trip. We have 2 trips. That is courtesy of Morning Cafe and courtesy of Mizizi Africa Homes. So make sure that when it's Friday, you will be among the number. And that is not all. We still have more goodies. Valentine's Cake House will be giving us lots of cakes for you. So that morning, we'll be asking you simple questions, and we allow you that chance to celebrate your loved one. Cakes also speak love. So at this particular time, you'll have a beautiful cake from Valentine's Cake House where you get to celebrate with your loved one. You enjoy it. Your mom, your dad, that one person that you call your fiance, you call your loved one. It is your chance to allow them that moment of celebration together. And we'll also be having UIP that is giving you a plot for your Valentine. So it is that time when you win this, then you tell your loved one, sasa ndio hii, shamba tumepata, title deed iko ready. And this is pretty simple. Just share your love story with the most shares and the likes. Of course, this story then will certainly get a chance of voting, or this voting will be ending on the 11th of February, and you get your chance. By the time it is 12th that morning on Friday, we'll be telling you who is this one person who's won this particular story. And so share your story, your love story for that matter, and you will get to enjoy this one on our social media platforms going on. The campaigns are on, and it's pretty simple. I do not see why you should not be that person who gets a chance to get this title deed. Not forgetting that we'll be doing all these activities at the Emory Hotel, and so we are grateful for that moment. Tomorrow is the deadline for the UAP Shamba thing, and so make sure that you are active as early as now. So on Friday is when I'll get to tell you whether you're that person who has the chance to go for a trip at the coast, or you are that one person who's gotten that title deed, or you will have gotten a cake. We all have something to win, or we all have something to celebrate when it comes to that point. Emory will also be awarding us a night out or a night moment in that particular hotel, for you lovebirds out there. So it will be pretty simple. We'll be asking you simple questions that Friday morning, and then whoever gets the right answer will certainly be the person who is awarded this particular moment of enjoying Valentine's night at the Emory Hotel. And they will also be having great prizes, or subsidized prices for you to get to enjoy that moment with the loved one. So keep tabs with us. Our social media platforms pretty much active, and you will be amongst the few people or the many people that will enjoy some of these prizes, some of these getaways right here, courtesy of Morning.